Oh,
We are.
sure are, gang.
Yes.
And we're here.
So fucking early, dude.
Thank you.
I'm drinking my coffee.
I've been up for 3 hours, guys.
Starbucks. You've been up for 3 hours?
I have been.
Why? What'd you do?
So this is the thing I've been keeping somewhat hush hush. I went to see some family, and so now my like internal clock is all fucked up and different now.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That was
so now my brain is like wired for Caribbean light and darkness. But I'm getting so much stuff done, you guys. I get up at like 4 a.m. and I cry and I cry.
Truly on that grind.
It's the same amount of how long do you stay awake?
Like, how long is my normal like hours of waking?
Yes.
I think I'm actually awake a little bit long. I usually sleep 8 hours. I've only been sleeping 5 now.
Well, that's not healthy at your age.
That will kill you.
I feel great, guys. I've never felt stronger.
How many times do you have someone tell you at your age? It's just thinking about it.
You know,
little behind the curtains, Ian is older than me. I won't say by how much.
He still is. He still is, honestly.
I'm so much older. I was born in a different decade. I don't.
Oh yeah, back we were born in the 1900s. So.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I was born roughly at the time Emma was written. I was
reading a tweet the other day, and it was this teacher. I assume they're a teacher. Otherwise, I don't know why they said they were teaching a kid. But it was, because that's weird if it's just a regular adult teaching a child.
Life lesson.
Yeah,
street smarts.
Yeah, street smarts. Some out of the way thing. But what it was is they were citing a paper for like college and like, oh, we added this to the Zotor or like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a paper from the 1900s, and they went, oh, cool. Wait, 1900s, and they're like, yeah, it was published in 96.
Wait, what?
But the children are referring it to as the 1900s.
That's not what that means. Oh my god. So he's illiterate. He doesn't know what words.
It's technically right, Ian. It's the 90s were like 30 years ago.
Yes, the 90s. Listen, I'm not going to argue that anymore. I've tried.
I was just talking to Nick and a friend of mine yesterday about how the early aughts are now in the nostalgia, like, I guess, sample or like trait, whatever. Because when we were growing up, the 80s were only 20 years old.
Yes. And when I was growing up, I feel like the 70s was what the nostalgia was about.
Yeah, yeah, same here.
But go ahead.
No, yeah, so all that angsty songs, primarily white, and like
very much
are all gonna be coming back.
Well, so this is, I don't have a joke about this. This is just a thing I know.
Yeah.
But like, to your point, I know that there's going to be like, I don't remember what it's called, but a bunch of people. What?
The festival?
Yes.
When we were young. It's called When We Were Young.
When We Were Young, and it's going to have like My Chemical Romance and Asking Alexandria and a bunch of those early aughts bands, all
bands I know the name of, and far majority I don't like.
And
not that I think they're bad, it's just not my type of music.
Not your thing. That's fine. Yeah. But yeah, like 7 different people I know were posting like, am I gonna spend $300? And I thought, yeah, you're all gonna do it.
You're all
You
gonna do
fucking
it.
rubes. You're all gonna
You
do it.
fucking horse. You're gonna shell out money to fucking Live Nation and like you all this talk about Coachella is like the problem and it's all gonna be no. It's just it wasn't music you wanted.
Mhm.
It wasn't
Yeah.
bands that hit you in the nostalgia trip.
Well, so here's a slightly funny thing I was gonna
Also,
say.
the Killers aren't going to be in that, and that's their song that they're titling
that
they're
is very
naming
funny.
after. Yeah,
That's actually really
Being
funny.
nostalgic for the 2000s is very surreal to me.
Yeah, odds suck, dude.
Because I was gonna say my memory of the 2000s is where everything went wrong.
Yeah,
honestly.
But then things got better, right?
odds were trashy. Music. Well, I mean, it's that thing of I'm of the train of thought that there's way more bad like media than there is good, and I'm not saying that as like a weird as like a nihilistic view. I'm saying that as statistically and the way art works
Right.
is that you're gonna have more bad than good. It's you
So
can ask any artist like, do they make more good stuff or more bad stuff?
yeah,
And if they're doing it right, it's more bad stuff because that's where you learn. But that bad shit gets out, and you can
yes.
So I remember all the trash in the odds.
Do you remember Puddle of Mud?
Hell yeah, I do. Oh, dude. I had a friend of mine. She likes Puddle of Mud, and I was like, when she told me that, I went, I used to make fun of people that like Puddle of Mud. I like to think I grew beyond that, but I think I'm going to be proven wrong in a couple minutes. She's a really nice person, and I don't know if that was super mean, but
I know that you like them very much because one, I know how much Chris loves to dump on Puddle of Mud. We both did. We love it's the most fun thing to
It's so
shit
easy.
all over how dumb their garbage lyrics are. But so I know Chris must think this person's really cool. So okay.
You see the cover of Nirvana, Ian?
Did they do a cover of what Nirvana song?
They did was it I forget the name of it, but it's the one that goes I Do.
Oh my god.
Have you seen it?
No.
No, I haven't.
I'll link it so like later.
Please put that in the chat, then I'm gonna check.
Where's Alien Ant Farm? And when we were young.
Are they not gonna be Alien Ant Farm? What?
Are we not gonna see them play the one song and it's a cover of a Michael Jackson song?
Now, guys,
over and over again. Because what other songs?
I know you guys are both very excited for Yellow Card, but don't forget Yellow Card retired. Actually, they're retired as of 2014. I know. I went to their very last show in California that they ever did.
I can't wait for beach goth music to be nostalgic in 10 more years.
It's going to be real weird in my 50s when I find that all the young artists are trying to copy like Billie Eilish. Like, what the fuck is that going to be like? That's
I'm looking at the poster. I was going to say Death Cab for Cutie, but like I'm pretty sure they're on here. Wow, that's really small, you know.
There's a lot of art there's like a lot of people coming in there, you know.
The Used.
I was gonna say actually briefly. Well, the last couple weeks I actually downloaded TikTok because I wanted to see it.
Okay.
Like,
oh yeah, what's your
favorite TikTok? What's my favorite TikTok? Oh gosh, so many good TikToks.
Is it that kid doing impression of Tourette's?
Is that
autism?
a thing?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing I heard from someone when they got into TikTok because the algorithm hasn't learned what you want yet.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the first videos that came up is this kid doing an impression of someone with Tourette's.
Cool, cool,
So
cool,
that's
cool,
fun.
cool,
That's a good
cool.
intro to
Yeah.
your platform.
Good mood setter. Shit.
I'm thinking about getting a TikTok, but solely for this channel,
Okay.
just to post clips, and I think that would be like a good advertisement.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's
I just
great
don't want that shit
advertising.
on my phone,
No.
so I got to figure out
I
how not to do that.
I played around with it for a few days, and
Yeah,
so other than other than a bunch like a handful of memes that I need to be better at Spanish to understand why they're very funny, uh, is there was there's this TikTok thing of um, do you remember X in high school?
yeah,
And I was like, oh, cool. Let's see what kind of thing they're gonna do. And it's all shit from when I was in the middle of college. It's all like, yeah,
that's
you
right, Ian.
remember the, yeah, you remember when fucking Victorious became like her own singer? No, I don't. I didn't follow her. Um, and
It
I
would have been
suddenly
weird.
it
It
would have been
really would
really
have been.
yeah.
Just call her. Why follow her?
It would
uh,
still, I would argue, be weird, but she's an adult, I think now, and
yeah, now she's a normal adult, and if I suddenly wanted to hear her song about breaking up with your boyfriend, that's
yeah,
a thing I might do,
yeah,
but I don't. I
yeah,
haven't done that.
yeah,
But anyway, the idea that like now, going back to kind of your original thought earlier,
yeah.
that nostalgia is now around the aughts. That
Yep.
nostalgia is now like, oh yeah, we gotta go back to that time. That
No, we
was
don't.
We got
we
to go
don't.
back to big time in their cars, spinning wheels.
All right, 9/11 again.
Yeah.
No, legit though, like this. I don't have a joke for this, but
Mhm.
it's like so much of all art in general, music, movies, whatever, TV,
Yeah.
is in response to 9/11, and it's like I don't want to fucking remember that.
Yeah.
That was a bummer, dude. It was a bummer where we were
Yeah,
all fucking
ruined my day.
kind.
I get you, Ian.
we
It
were
really
we were
put me
all
off balance. A vibe
yeah.
check. It was,
2 vibe checks.
says
Well,
Ian.
I think it was also like I don't know if we talked about this last time. I feel like
Mhm.
maybe you and I just had this conversation, but like it was also a weird time where we here I'm meaning
Yeah.
the
The
culturally
royal we. Yeah, sure.
the royal we were all like, oh, we're past racism, so we have a
Yeah.
bunch of like weird basically just repeating weird racist jokes, and the
Yeah.
joke is, isn't it cool that we're past this now that we can say all this weird racist shit out loud, and we know it's wrong, and that's what makes it ironic and funny.
Yeah.
Like
Nick
that's
and I
kind of
talk about how like one of the biggest jokes in the odds is just that someone's gay. And
yeah,
that's it to the joke
yes,
because that's funny.
it's very funny, guys. It's
Yeah,
very
And
that was peak humor.
it was peak humor.
Peak
That's
humor
all
was
you
being,
had to say.
yeah.
see
Not
that.
And you can
crazy.
get a room of dudes laughing.
Oh yeah.
And
Hey,
odds
God.
odds sucked, man. Like
I
9/11
was
9/11's a big one. The housing
9/11's a
market
big
crashed in
one.
'08. I don't know if people I don't know if
9/11,
people
yes,
realize
that's up
like
there.
sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, you said like, oh, 9/11, that was a pretty big one.
That was a big one. The housing market crash that also
The
happened.
Pentagon, that's kind of up there.
It's
It's
kind
kind
of
of
up
big.
there.
you
Kind of a
know
big
they
deal.
tried to do Wonder Woman again. I thought that
They
was pretty
fucking hit the
important.
Pentagon, man.
Ian, wake up! They hit the Pentagon again in 2021.
Oh shit. Oh.
The housing market crashed in '08. People lost everything
Yeah.
because of some banks, which, believe me or
Some
not, when
rich.
I talk about my month, that's going to come around. Man, yeah,
It's
it
it's
sucked. Fuck
can
that
I
decade. It was trashy. We thought
Oh,
Kid Rock
dude.
was good. I didn't think Kid
Oh,
Rock was good, but
dude.
we
oh
thought Kid Rock was good.
That can actually transition to what I watched.
yeah.
Oh yes, please.
Oh wait. I just want to make sure because I know we really steered away from what Ian wanted to talk about.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I want to make sure we go back to that.
Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, the only real point I had was that like it was like a super dark fucking time
Yeah.
where like I don't know, guys. I even look back at the stuff that was considered like progressive, like
Mm-hmm.
really sharp, and like isn't the joke still kind of like he's Muslim and we're all very nervous?
Yeah.
Isn't it funny?
Oh.
We know it's wrong, but we're all very
It's
yeah.
to Middle Eastern community.
Yeah.
What up?
Like, well, we got the Daily Show out of that, but the Daily Show started in the '90s, so
Yeah, I mean, and it really had a bright and shining period, and then
yeah,
it didn't.
had a big
You
impact
know?
on me. So
Oh, I mean, it made me politicized,
yeah.
definitely. I mean, well, if we're gonna,
Well,
and
hey.
then we can also talk briefly about. Just I'll make this comment is
Mhm.
like, I think if y'all are the type of people who watch Cody Shody, TMCR,
Yeah, big fan.
you definitely kind of he's vocalizing certain idea that I think is really really important because when I was still working in an office, I want to say back in 2018,
Yeah.
I did talk to people who legitimately were the opinion of like, wow, things are so bad now. It kind of makes you want Bush back, right? No, no, it doesn't.
Okay.
No,
And
there
what?
that
Just go full circle or like what?
right,
Yeah, no.
exactly. Like,
There was one dude. I used to work with this guy. He left after about a month I was working there, but we got along. And I remember him talking to someone and just going, "Dude, you just don't remember how bad it was with Bush."
it was pretty bad,
And
guys.
I was like, I like people forget. Like, I was agreeing with him, and people
Mm.
forget how fucking wild it was.
I'm it it was
How
it
scary like things became.
like I think the thing that you need to put it in I think here's the exact thing that I would say in those
Yeah.
situations is like if you think this is fucking wild,
Mhm.
it's this wild because he was that wild.
Yeah.
He was mild Takis and this is like full spice.
Yeah.
It's just an escalation. Like
Yeah.
anyway, that's my hot political take for
I know.
today.
I'm not in political science.
Yeah.
I definitely know quite a bit, but
Mhm.
I'm not going to get here and be like I'm going to analyze the line.
Yeah.
From
I'm
the
here to
Bush
solve.
years.
I'm here to
I
solve
will
all
say it was.
tension.
I think it's like one of the big stepping stones to where we're at. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's for
wouldn't be
fucking
able to
sure.
write a paper on it.
No.
I wouldn't be
Same. Same.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I think I will say like, I think it's weird. Everyone's acting like these problems fell from the sky, like they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
it blows
Like
me
how
away,
quick.
but at the same time, I think I've been around long enough to notice how much people generally like put away that stuff and are so focused on their own lives. And
Yeah.
I'm gotten to a point where I don't blame them as much
Mhm.
because it's a lot. It really is. It's you got your own things going on, and that stuff has to be taken care of now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the
Absolutely.
same time, yeah, I just wish more people realize that it's not, if you're following it, it's not surprising.
No, it's all in the world of the way countries work and all that kind of thing. Very, very, very rarely is it like, oh shit, what? They've got Dr. Manhattan. Everything's changed forever now in
Yeah.
this one moment.
Yeah.
Like that's the anomaly. That's not how most of this works.
It's very rare. It's very rare.
I used a metaphor from a comic book, so it was relatable to everybody.
So we can get back on the fun things we talk about here.
Yes. What about you, Nick? You were gonna do a nice clean segue.
That's right.
Well,
Well, the thing I was gonna transition to is me saying I watched Woodstock '99 documentary.
Oh,
Oh.
you were
That's the
telling me about
grimiest
this.
thing I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
So I'll say it's everything we talked about and more. So I think it's 2 decades rolled into one. The worst
Okay.
parts of them.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was all Limp Bizkit. He did it for the nookie. I like to call. All I'll say is I like to call Woodstock '99 DMX and everybody else
Oh god. Well, Nick,
because that was peak X.
where did you watch it, by the way? That documentary?
The Woodstock '99 documentary was on
HBO Max, right?
yeah,
HBO
I think
Max.
it's HBO Max.
Okay.
And then yeah, HBO Max.
Mhm.
Because I'd only seen a trailer for it, and
Yeah.
just the trailer already looks bananas. Like,
Because it takes every part of that moment where like in the news like you only got like the sliver of it,
no.
which is true.
But-
They interview everybody, the security
Wow.
guards, assault victims,
Wow.
families of the concert goers that died. They
Jeez.
interview journalists at the time. They interview band members who had to stop a lot of assaults and people ripping shirts off women on. That was the whole thing.
Fucking shit. Well,
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
one of the clips they used for the documentary, I don't know if you want to comment on it necessarily, but like I believe they're interviewing the guy who organized Woodstock '99.
Yeah.
And he's like he's defending himself. He's mitigating. And then he goes he's like, people act like there was it was just a bacchanal of sexual assault and raping. There was only like 10 rapes. Like, why do people get like, why do you think
As
that's
opposed
okay?
to the standard 2? Like,
yeah,
what is he saying?
I suppose.
We
were expecting 20.
I think we did real good for this crowd. I think this is
so fucked. That's so
but
fucked.
but here's
I didn't see that. That's really fucked. Like,
yeah, and my unique approach watching it was that I was watching it with my sibling who watched it because of the musicians on there.
Yeah.
Oh.
And plus she would just wanted to know like the history of Woodstock. And as we were watching, it was mostly me. I realized majority of it was her pausing, asking me what this means, and I explained to her what that meant at the time.
Yeah.
And her going, "That sounds awful," and I said, "Yes, it was."
What's an example of is it like cultural things that are like
Everything.
specific? Oh, okay.
The words being thrown around, the terms people were using, the overall mentality and treatment of certain things and people. I had to explain. At one point, they showed what's his name, the guy who started the whole video games equal school shootings.
Holy shit!
Because at one point, and then I had to explain that whole thing, and I had to explain like the impact of new metal, and then like, why is everyone letting these things happen? She asked, and I said because they thought that was the funniest thing at the time. The butt of the joke was if you were not the majority demographic, and if you're of the minority at the time, of what's the normalized part of the culture, you are there for the joke.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just how it was. And
yeah,
I mean, we talked about before, it's just like this documentary makes you realize, man, this is the absolute worst. This shows the absolute worst, but the most realistic.
Yeah.
And I don't think
that's kind of why I want to watch it, because that sounds way more real. That sounds way more in tune than what I remember of that era.
Yeah.
But yeah, DMX was the highlight. I mean, it says a lot of DMX is like the nicest person there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I've always heard that DMX is actually super, like, good dude.
Like, very chill guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just keeps it real.
Yeah.
Listen,
like,
he may
I
know
think
how
he
to.
said, "Oh, go ahead."
I was gonna do a DMX joke about his music. It's fine. Go.
I was gonna say, I think he has a thing where he was talking about anger, and how once he did music, that was that's his outlet, right? And that's his channeling of
Right.
his anger, because he does admit, like, he's constantly angry, and he didn't want to not be angry, because some things you have to be angry about in this world,
Yes.
but to
Yeah.
channel it in some way that's
Productive
constructive
way.
and like
Yeah.
productive in that. And it's
Okay.
like, I like that idea a lot more than just don't be angry.
Yes.
Like, because I think that's bullshit. I think any denial of feelings is inhuman in some regard. But
No, absolutely. Yeah.
rest in peace, DMX.
Oh shit! Is he? What?
Wait, what? You don't know?
Whoa, you didn't know?
No.
Ian,
When did this happen?
this was like 2 months ago.
Fuck,
Ian.
for real, guys?
He had his funeral in was it LA or New York? New York, right?
New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Wow,
Dude,
guys.
his funeral's awesome. Exactly how he wanted it.
Yep.
I don't know if you know. Well, no, you don't know. But
I don't.
He got his buddies to ride his casket around New York in a monster truck.
Dude.
And he was followed by other New Yorkers on ATVs, like, and they're all just driving through New York with them.
Like, okay, listeners, I want you to all know right now, I'm taking this in. I'm so happy to hear this news. I mean, that the funeral was this way. And I say this not as a joke, but genuinely, that's the sickest shit I've ever fucking heard of.
It's fucking rad.
So cool.
It was fantastic.
I'm so, like,
what a way to go.
It's give him exactly what he wanted. It's
yeah.
great.
Fuck, DMX. Fuck. Like, wow. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, that was like 2 months ago, dude.
That was months ago, yeah.
Shit. Wow. Well,
I'm sorry
guys,
I had to do that to you.
We had no idea.
Man. Podcast.
Hey, man.
I would have set you aside.
Yeah.
Fuck. Remember him as he was. Shit, in that fucking monster truck. That's type of shit.
Dude.
But like you said, who the fuck wants to be happy all the time, you fucking weirdo?
Yeah, that's the line. Oh, dude, I'm always wary about people that are, like, constantly happy.
Oh, yeah.
I remember having a friend in college. I'm not gonna name names, but she once came to me. She was telling, because she was like, she's very bubbly and bright, and always kind of gave off the air of happiness. And I thought she was cool. And she told me once, like, yeah, but I know I'm happy. It seems like I'm happy all the time, but sometimes I just want to fucking like be angry and yell. It's like, I told her, you have to. You can't. That's gonna bite. That's gonna come back and hurt. Like,
yeah.
You have to figure out how to do that in a healthy way. Like
started rapping.
Just scream, yeah. So
started rapping.
She put down some cardboard and she broke it down. And she started spitting some rhyme.
I also know she went through some shit. It's one of those things where I notice, like, the people who really want to help others have gone through something, like,
oh yeah, really
fucking tragic or awful.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like wary of. I hope she's doing good. I haven't kept the contact since college, but I doubt she'll ever want. I hope she's doing good.
I think a similar thing goes through, like, I think that you see in a lot of like writers and stand-ups that are very funny, like comic people. Those folks usually have like a real heavy story in their back pocket that's like, essentially, I don't want people to feel like that.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of comics who come around and essentially, like, one of their drives is to just be like, there's got to be a way to make people feel a little bit better sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Although I would argue, I know that's becoming less true.
Yes.
With comedians, which is a good thing, and, like, overall that's a good thing. And they're still being funny, so because me and you talk about this, I want to avoid the thing that you have to go through something in order to be creative in any way, because fuck that. That's like, I would never wish that upon anyone.
There was this there was this joke I heard a while ago that actually I think is a perfect encapsulation of that.
Yeah.
But the punchline is essentially it was a Pete Davidson line about his dad, and his dad was a fireman who died in 9/11, coming back to a theme.
Yeah.
And so he's talking about this, and he's talking about how like the community pulled together, and a bunch of people donated to his family to help them get through.
Yeah.
And it ended up being that they had enough money to get a pool installed in their house. And so Pete ended up having like, I was a cool kid and I had people from school come over all the time, and they were like, wow, Pete, you must be so happy, you're like the coolest kid. And he's like, yeah, whatever, Dad, I've got a pool now, I feel really happy. This was worth it.
That's great.
That's an equivalent exchange, right?
Oh yeah.
It's always fair.
Yeah. Parental figure equals one pool.
Everybody has a dad, but how many people have a pool? My God.
Was it an in-ground pool? Because that's the money.
Oh.
You know what? I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's like, that probably would make it more funny.
Yeah.
So let's say it's an in-ground pool.
Like my family didn't get a pool until 2 years ago, and my entire life, never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd ever get a pool. And
it's so nice, man. You have a really nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it was a big deal because we were like, we're one of those people who have a pool. Like, it's a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the pool thing. I think is a specific one that I think people don't quite understand. If you had a pool and had like the luxuries and means to have something like that, how big of a deal like it is now.
For real. Like I mean, not to break out into story, but like I remember being a kid and there was this house in the neighborhood that was empty for a really long time, and me and other neighborhood kids would like sneak in there to swim in the swimming pool because like it was really
like
oh yeah, nasty as shit, but like it's our swimming pool. But yeah, man. Woodstock 99, I really gotta watch it.
We have back to Woodstock 99.
Yeah, and then to transition to other stuff, I did watch a lot of movies where they just happened to be the end of certain long-going series, so I felt like a lot of closure in a lot of series I was growing up watching. So I'll reduce it to a sentence, okay, Chris, just for you.
Okay.
The last movie of Heaven's Field from Fate is great. It has a great fight scene, Chris, I think you would generally like, where it has a lot of wizards and people shooting lasers at each other. but the last fight does a cool thing where it's just two men punching each other in front of like a eldritch horror.
That's cool.
That ties not only the source material of the games, of the visual novels, but also gives closure to the prequel that was made specifically for the Netflix series. So if you're someone that watched just the show, this is like the best way to watch it.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it was just great closure, but that was really good.
I will say one of my favorite anime fights ever is Sendo versus Ippo 1.
Yeah.
And that's a slugfest. Like that's two kids just fucking wailing on each other. Like
yeah, that was pretty rad.
That's very really cool, Chris.
Right? No, I agree. Like it's because
there's nothing much to say about that fight because it really is just two fucking people wailing on each other in boxing. Like,
and it's definitely like conflict of ideals of like what is the best approach to boxing, and then that I think that also would apply to this fight scene in Fate because it was just two ideals, just like wanting the same thing, just like their approach to it. It
Yeah.
was conflicting.
Just heads
Which I
up,
thought was
Ian.
cool.
I don't know if Ian knows. He probably knows, but he's muted.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I don't know much about the Punchy Up game now, but
no, I was just saying you were muted. I didn't know if you did that on purpose or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But yeah, what were the other movies, Nick?
And then I watched Studio 4 Degrees' latest movie. It came out a year ago, exclusively on Netflix. Children of the Sea. Children of the Sea is probably probably the most unique looking movie I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of films that try their hardest to do the coastal, like the coast village, or like that part. But the issue is it always seems hollow, or like we talk about, backgrounds are too clean.
Mm-hmm.
In Children of the Sea, it's very grimy in its backgrounds. Like most beach kids are like people that lived on the coast and up here.
Mm.
Yeah.
I am conflicted on that movie because overall it is a solid movie in terms of story. The highlight being visually.
Yeah. Which it is an animated flick, so that's going to be a big priority.
Yeah, like the story itself is very simple. Like I can't really say much.
Right.
There are a lot of interesting visual images they'd use, like to showcase kind of the isolation that comes with living on the coast, like this unique culture that's exclusive to that experience. And the thing I'm conflicted about is the production of it, because there's a whole video on YouTube that has a discussion about production and abuse of workers for animation. And it falls into the Wonder Egg priority, where it's a lot of passionate people not properly making a reasonable amount of time for work and a reasonable schedule. So everyone's either overworked or no one's working at all.
Yeah.
A lot of workers end up on both those extremes. However, they're both paid the same. So that's where a lot of the issue was. So
just a lot of mismanagement.
Yeah. So I'm very
conflicted. Like 99% of the time, that's the problem.
Yeah.
If there's anything I've learned.
Yeah, I think because I was so curious about the production that I looked it up and it ends up being something really, really shitty. So yeah, there's that. The thing I want to take up the time talking about is I finished watching the last film for Violet Evergarden, and the last movie last year came out the same month of the anniversary of the arson attack. So you had a lot of emotions from the studios and a lot of emotions for viewers watching it, because a lot of it had to be new staff than the originally planned. So it's the last movie, it's the last entry in the series, and it makes it very clear, especially in the last 30 minutes. And like it's like screaming at you, this is it, there's nothing else.
We have no more. We have no more story.
Like any questions you had, anything we left off in the series and the film, no, just right there they are. There you go. See, they shake hands, they have a conclusion.
Okay.
He's a middle manager at a supermarket. That's his life now.
Yeah. He was poor, but no more. And here's the thing. I am trying to figure out why I felt more closure for this movie than I did with Evangelion. And I think the
Evangelion's pretty, like, I'm done.
No. Yeah. I know. I know, dude, like, even I was confused as to why that was.
Yeah.
And I think it just came down to the time. I think it's just the timing. I think it's just like the amount of time that was between the rebuild.
Yeah, me and you talked about that.
It was so huge
10 years!
Like, it's inevitable that any strong feelings you had would just dissipate like
naturally.
So even if you get the most closure, it's not like the full effect of it that it could have been.
Yeah.
And me and you talked about like those movies are helped, even especially the third one, if you're watching it back to back. It feels a lot better. If you're waiting for these, it's rough. It's a hard no, but interesting. I fully agree that with the Eva movies, the biggest problem was time.
Yeah.
And how much of that was in control and what wasn't is a lot more murky than I think. I could probably figure out.
Isn't it the separation between the beginning and the end is a decade or so?
10 years, yeah. The separation from 3 and 4
is a decade.
10 years, yeah.
Holy fuck! What Shin Godzilla? Wow.
That's right. Shin Godzilla came out during.
You are correct, Ian. You are absolutely correct.
I remember things that happened. Watch, I'll say them right now.
So, yeah. So with Violet Evergarden, it was just I think it was just the feeling at the end of that you can have a very strong message.
Okay.
Well,
sorry.
I think I talked about before. Like it's in the same vein of Berserk, where it's like it's trying to go through your traumas, even when faced with the most cruelest parts of the world and like the cruelest parts that can be given to a person.
Yeah,
there is still like a hope and like a connection you can make with others. And with Evergarden, it was essentially it was essentially a veteran finding closure from the trauma they went through of war, and knowing that it wasn't their fault that certain things happen.
Yeah,
that it was just an inevitability of the times, and they were all put in positions. They're all given a choice at too young of an age, and they're just products of that. They're just products of war, and then they had to live through the reconstructional period. Everything around them gets better, but they just got worse. And the movie highlights that when telephones are invented, and they're talking about how ghostwriters and automatons won't need to be needed anymore. People can just call them, So they were wondering about like, what's the point of writing if you can just talk to someone,
right?
And that and it just became like, well, what am I now if I no longer have the thing people admire me for? So that was this character's exploration. And when you get to the end, it was like knowing that they're gonna be. It's like the moral oral thing of like, it was like the series was telling me that she's gonna be okay. Like she will be. She found like people to be with, and like even if what she's known for won't be a thing, she's still herself at the end. So and be able to have that like given with the arson attack, and it was just so many emotions at the end of it that I don't think I've ever stood up and applauded in my life. Except with that movie.
Wow.
I've been with movies where you've done that.
I've
been with you.
Wait, which ones?
I think Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2046. You stood up.
Did I?
I want to say yes.
Well, man, that's a good one to pick. Like, if you're gonna stand and clap for a movie,
Nick does it for good ones. Like, also, did you know that's a very American thing?
To stand
clapping for a movie?
Yeah, Nick, and I don't mean to take away from your feelings on Evergarden. It actually sounds like a really cool series of movies that I might check out. But that is a purely American thing to applaud at the end of movie theaters.
You're right, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, what? No, I'm talking about this thing we as Americans fucking do.
And we live in a society where
we throw our meat. So it's an American thing, right?
Yes.
2, it's a fucking weird that we do that. Applauding for who?
Man, I know it's weird.
Who's gonna see it?
It's
Chris,
a very.
You don't ever look at a painting and think, I
And
am
just go,
applauding this picture. Oh, what a very good picture.
no,
I've
because
done that.
you applaud for the artist, right?
Right.
For doing
Right.
a work. If the artist is not there, why do it?
I know what you're saying is true, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm gonna go watch my Marvel movie. They did it. They poured the money.
No, I agree. It is stupid.
USA. Yes.
I don't think it's stupid. I like it.
No,
I
Nick.
like it.
What I'm not saying is your specific thing, because you obviously had a very good, like a very emotional like connection to it, right?
Right.
And that was your way of expressing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the fucking people in movie theaters who watch fucking like Spider-Man and
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I don't know if I've told this story before, but
you applauded to Spider-Man.
No, not Spider-Man. This is an older story. This is going back to the aughts. But
Okay.
when I saw 99, when I saw episode 1, Phantom Menace,
Oy.
the audience, as soon as the crawl started, burst into cheers and applause at the crawl for the movie.
How young
episode
they were.
1. How innocent a time it was.
To be fair, episode 1's probably the best one.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's got less of the problems that the other God.
I'm being real generous here. I mean, I've said my. I feel like I have to say this shit every time we talk about Star Wars. That I think there's more bad Star Wars than good.
I agree.
And I would argue there's more bad movies than good ones. Therefore, not making Star Wars a good franchise or a good movie series.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, Mando's awesome. Everyone,
it's cool.
Don't worry, we're gonna get into Mando.
Okay, so I know we're gonna talk about Book of Boba Fett later, but I have not watched last Wednesday's episode.
Oh, fuck, dude!
I know, and the lead off from that one, I just haven't had time.
Okay,
I'm gonna try it today.
Okay.
I've been very busy. I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, Nick, what you're saying about Violet Evergarden actually makes me really want to watch it, so I might give it a shot.
Yeah. Well,
because it is not what I thought that movie was.
Well, like the series as itself is about living with your trauma and then trying to adjust to society when you're the most disconnected.
Yeah.
Through the act of writing and then the importance of writing and communication. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to like talk about at least like the structure, at least like what I really enjoyed, and was the narrative structure of it. I thought it was really unique.
Oh, okay.
It's not really a spoiler. It's just like the first. It's like the first thing you see.
Okay.
I realize I compare it to Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh.
In that the movie is the granddaughter of one of the main character's clients from the 1800s as they adjust to Europe restoring from World War II. Like the Nazis have just fallen.
Oh.
And then the granddaughter finds letters that the main character has written for her grandmother that they preserved. And that's the send off, is like her reading it and realizing the legacy and like the power of writing that writing.
Oh, that's what kicks off her journey.
It kicks off like the movie. Like that's how like the rest happens like through. It's like they do like a back and forth, like an A and B story. There's the A of
gotcha. There's the A thread. There's the B thread.
Yeah.
So, because that was going to be my next question, is that just a framing device to talk about her grandfather, and he's actually the main character, or is she the main character and this is her send off?
I think it's kind of like the granddaughter is, it's kind of like just like a narrative, kind of like just like the A story of her going through historical parts of it and going, oh, what's that, and then well, what's this symbol right here, and then
Yeah,
It's like, yeah,
because that is a
it's like
finer
that.
juggle if they're both main characters and like it's going like that.
They are.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because the emotional climax has to be both of their stories coming to a head in some manner.
Yeah, and it's kind of like realizing that a lot of things, a lot of history you read about is much closer than we
Oh
feel they
yeah,
are. Where a lot of things like we see as distant history is only 1 or 2 generations away, or 2 lifetimes
yeah.
away.
No.
And
Still, people from the who went through the Holocaust are alive.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
and yeah, I just think the movie. I mean, like by the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
there was just so many like mixed emotions. There's so many emotions I had with it, and
Yeah.
the kind of closure to get from that, despite everything that's happened, like in real life as well, like
Mm-hmm.
for this studio is nothing less than an incredible feat of artistry to me.
Right on.
Yeah, I just think it's a beautiful movie, and it's probably one of my favorites in a while.
Ooh.
And it's probably, yeah, I think it's the most closure I got in a movie in a long time.
That's cool.
Wow.
I like closure. We'll get to Eternals when we talk about closure.
But yeah, and I'll leave that for my week since that was what I was trying to
Oh,
take up the
no
most
worries.
time.
Is there anything else you want to quickly mention before we? Because I know me and you have overlapping stuff.
Yeah, so one in particular for me is that I finished the game one shot.
Okay. Yeah, I've been told there's a project I'm working on, and someone suggested I check that out for the project.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely one of those games that came out as a product of Undertale. It came out around
Okay.
2015, so around that time. Then there was
Oh,
the
so that was
Steam
a quick
version.
turnaround. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. I will say it is effective. It's a very tight knit,
Okay.
effective story.
Yeah.
Um, it had the uniqueness to it does come down to a lot of the tricks. I think it's one of those things that like the tricks we're now exposed to a lot
Oh, yeah, but
for
at
these
that
types
time it
of
would have been
games.
rather new.
Yeah, so if I had played it around
Mm.
that time, I would think it's mind blowing.
Yeah. It's like
Right? It
Eternal Darkness, right? Like their insanity meter for that game
yeah.
is my would have been so just out of people's comfort zone or was out of people's comfort zones that you would think something's broken with like your setup.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I get what you mean by that.
Yeah. And it's a very simple game, but
Yeah.
I think effective is the best way to describe it. It's honest. The most amount of hours you would probably put in is around 5 or 6.
Okay.
And yeah, I just think it's a great game.
Right on. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Because if I
Mhm.
want to work on that project right, I want to make sure I'm all
Mm-hmm.
leveled up. I mean, you guys know that about me. I got to do my research before I jump into it.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm glad to hear it's good when I play it. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that guy who's playing it going, we sure we want to take inspiration.
Yeah, yeah. The other quick mention is I finished reading Murakami's new book, which is a collection of short stories.
Shit, I got to get on that.
First person singularity.
Okay.
All I'll say is, out of all the short story books he's made, Men Without Women, Elephant
Yeah.
Vanishes, Blinding Willow, and After the Quake, I think this is up there. This is like the second
Ooh.
favorite overall.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of the short stories in this one do have an overarching theme of normalcy through brutality,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like the normalcy that comes with like going through, like there's things I'm sorry, there's like external things happening in your life, and it's just like trying to find your own like normalcy to it, like your own everyday
Okay.
life to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely him. Like there's nothing else to say it other than if you don't like Murakami, this is not for you.
Yeah, you ain't gonna like the book. Wouldn't
And
it be
I think it's
wild if you're like, hey, if it's a Murakami book, But if you like Pendragon or Percy Jackson, you're gonna love this book.
Hey kids, if you read every single spin-off novel in the fucking Ian Coffer series of elf thieves, this is for you.
It's gonna fuck.
You're gonna get this book and just destroy it.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. The kids are gonna love it.
Kids are gonna love it. The book looks submissive and breedable.
I'm sorry.
Who's the guy? I was just about to try to make one, but I can't for whatever reason. I can't remember who's the guy that's not Stephen King.
Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz. That's
Dean Koontz.
I knew Ian would know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yes, Dean Koontz looks submissive and breedable, says Chris.
Dean Koontz is gonna make you brain cummies.
I know you bought a Murakami book, but you're in for a Dean Koontz ride.
No.
I should advertise books.
I'm sold.
For anyone out there, I will talk about your book if it's good and try to really sell it.
Our agency, it's called Hard Sell.
Yeah,
we're gonna.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think I like it more than Killing Commodore. Maybe okay. I think because it's clear like the type of stories he prefers expressing, or have like he takes more time to like flesh out the main character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just a great book overall.
Nice.
I definitely noticed that I personally prefer collection of short stories now more than long narratives or like single narrative novels. Yeah. That's why it was probably no problem for me to like go through Raymond Carver as I did.
Yeah.
Right.
I just prefer tight, good stories. Just like really straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good book, and
why did he steal those pies in Raymond Carver though? Why did that guy steal the pies?
Because of depression and life sucks.
What are those guys on the fishing trip? What are they really up to, though? What are they up to?
What are they? When that mailman turns around and gives a whole speech. I know I'm making fun of it, but I actually really love Raymond Carver.
No, same.
It's just the. I mean, I guess that's any good story where you're gonna think about it way more after reading it than the time you spent reading it. Boy, are those stories fucking dense. You want to talk about?
Yeah.
People are still analyzing that shit. But yeah, that's cool. I want to check out Murakami's latest stuff for sure.
Yeah, his audiobook's free, so if you want to do that.
Oh shit, really? Okay, I might do that.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently, so I might fucking get that shit going.
Nice. But yeah, right. I'll leave that for my week.
Okay. Should I go then? Because I know Nick and I have stuff overlapping.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, when do we want to talk about Eternals? Do we want to do that now or later? Like at the end of my thing.
End of thing.
Yeah, end of thing. That'll be a good segue. Yeah.
What else did I watch? I know I watched a lot of things. But it's one of those things I watched so much that it's now like, oh god, I gotta pick one. I'm caught up. Well, no, I'm not caught up with Amphibia. I just finished a Christmas episode. That's whatever's on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Ian, have you watched more of Amphibia or Owl House?
So here's the thing. I finished Owl House.
Okay.
All of it.
Boy, doesn't that suck?
What the fuck is wrong with you, Chris? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you make me watch a show so good and then have it end there?
Dude, does it? So like I was mentioning how I fully understand the outrage when that show was cut.
Yeah.
And now we're just going to get like 3 OVAs or something similar.
Yeah.
Because they're not called OVAs here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels like it just stops.
Like it feels like it stops in the middle of a season.
Of the
Like that
middle of a
didn't even
season,
feel like
yeah.
it didn't feel like a season ender. Like I liked the scene with Luce and her mom, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. But
it's a really good scene. It's a really good.
But it didn't feel like
Real
we had
scene.
any. We didn't have any kind of narrative cap on what's going on in the story.
Yeah, absolutely not.
You know.
Nothing.
So
nothing. There's no thread is closed. Like,
I mean,
so those three movies or whatever
uh-huh.
are gonna be. It's a lot of work. It's gonna.
Yeah, you get a lot of legwork there.
It sucks, dude. It really feels like how hard, like how screwed over they were by Disney.
It's very strange to me. I wonder what it is exactly that had Disney cut the cord right there at that point in production.
What the specific reason was, well, we won't know. But we know it's that thing of like 6 people or something smaller decide whether or not a show keeps going.
Yeah, that's true.
And they said no. Fucking horseshit. And then the creator, I talked about that interview, right, where they revealed the 3 movies that are going to come after.
Yeah.
And the most disheartening thing, or the most soul crushing for me, is all we ask is that people watch it on Disney Plus, and hopefully we can get maybe a comic book series, maybe a book, and just it. Which I'm not saying those things are low, like mediums. They're not. No. It's just that this was obviously supposed to be an animated show. It's never supposed to be on that medium, and it feels like they're just getting scraps now.
Exactly. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that it is a shame that something that has clearly been constructed for a specific medium won't get to kind of live out all of its narrative potential in the medium it was intended for. Mm-hmm. Having said that, though, when you said novel, I was like, she'd probably be really comfortable making it like, because
she could probably do a really good book. Because that's
young adult fiction is like a big plot point in the show. Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. I agree that it really ought to have been able to flesh itself out in the way that it was going. So, there's so many side parts. Like, what about the Queen of Bats? We're never gonna get a resolution to. Ah, man.
She seems okay. If that ever.
No. Yeah.
Queen of Bats. Let's see. Whatever. I mean, the nephew is going to be for sure like a main plot point, and whatever the 3 things are, it's probably going to actually revolve around him. Is my guess.
The nephew? Who are we talking about now?
The kind of spoilers.
What?
Because I already said
character?
The nephew. I won't reveal who.
Uh-huh.
But there's a character who's obviously going to become part of the main team later.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's incredibly well animated.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking. Sorry, he's like a super late edition. That's why
he's really late. And but it's because it really feels like there's gonna be 2 more seasons.
Yeah, it sure did.
It felt like this is gonna be a 5-season show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. It's like 2.5, and there's gonna be.
So to me, there are 2 plot points that I feel like 3. You have to hit the 3 protagonists, which is Luce, Eva, and King.
Yeah,
and their stories probably have to be the ones that get resolved. Yeah. I would imagine, right?
And Eva's hers is pretty close to being done. If at all, there's not much I think else going on except that you can do other than her relationship to Luce.
Yeah.
Because they really kind of have to, because especially in those final episodes, it really, they got the word. And they're rapidly trying to close as many threads as they can, even though there's still a lot.
Well, I thought so that's the funny thing is, like, here's an example of something is the like Luce's like girlfriend that felt paced out, and I thought that felt normal. And
I would actually argue I think it was a little fast at the beginning, but once they're together, it's like fine.
Yes,
it's very cute. It's a very cute relationship.
Very cute.
Yeah.
But I kind of could definitely see, like, oh, I mean, they could have made this a little more will they won't they, I guess, if they wanted, or
yeah, but it's also kind of good they didn't.
Same so many shows do that, you know.
Yeah, I would honestly, it's one of those things. I know I say it's really fast. I honestly don't know how else you would do it the way that show does that. And of course, the height of ego is being like, well, this is how you fucking do the thing. So
give me that pen. I'll
give me that pen. All right, a real relationship. I got a story. That reminds me of a funny job I was gonna apply to. Fuck it, I'm gonna tell it, right? Like, real quick. I was gonna apply to this writing gig for this dating app. I might still it's not a dating app, sorry. It's a game for your phone where you excuse me. You're flirting with characters in text message form.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, all right, I can write something steamy that's like, but it's safe, and all that. There's it's not threatening and all that.
Right.
And then I was reading up on what the application involved, and then they described the core demographic, and it was ages it was females ages 16 through 25. And I went, I'm perfectly in tune with what with what that demographic wants. Obviously, I should be the one to apply.
That's excellent.
So that made me go real quick. Okay, I'm probably not going to write chat things. I might apply to their writing story because that's not because it would be for different games and all that shit.
Okay.
So I remember going, that's gonna be a fun thing if I apply and they see this and hear the way I talk and use words like I'm gonna write flirting, but it's safe and there's everyone feels okay, but it's also a little steamy, but not that steamy. You can take it to your mom and be like, hey, this dude, they're gonna love the way I talk.
I know what these girls like.
I know what this graphic likes and wants. All up here. Personal experience. That's what that is. Ignore that.
And it's not weird. It's not weird. You're making it weird.
I know I'm 20s. I know I'm in my late 20s now, huh? Because I passed out. But and a cis Hispanic male, but I feel like I understand what they I had a good laugh reading that job description. Again, not on them, but more on, wouldn't it be funny if can't wait to do that interview.
Here's my first pitch. Good evening, milady.
Hi, I'm captain of the football team, and I think you're really intelligent and also funny, and you're just the bestest around.
You want to go out with a hot dog? I'm not even gonna make you eat a salad.
They'll be like, "What's your you write? You have to write a pickup line. My two favorite things are commitment and changing myself. I also like true crime."
You know what? That last one, that might work. That might that might
that'll kill someone, whether they like it or not.
My two
I'm gonna
favorite
make it.
things:
Yeah. Go.
true crime and hearing about horrible cult activity. Ooh.
Oh man. My favorite movie is The Notebook and Twilight 2. That's how in touch I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Long story short, and if it's not very clear, I would make it terrible.
Goodness.
I should apply. I should. Just for a lark.
Just for funsies.
Because that's what I know. That's my writing.
Uh,
Everyone who's ever read my short stories goes, yeah, Chris would nail it.
Young adult fiction. This is
Young
the
adult
audience.
fiction.
Yeah.
Dude, even as a teenager, my shit was like, just, he's really depressing.
No, I remember. I remember.
Anyway, everyone go check out my game. I'm the narrative designer for it. It's meant for children, and I think y'all should play it. It's a free demo.
Good for it.
That's Underling Uprising. Go check it out.
Mm.
Okay, so Owl House is good.
Yeah, I liked Owl House very much.
Hootie's best character.
Hootie is like an Invader Zim throwaway character that they somehow got.
It's
yeah.
Go ahead.
It's bananas to me that he's like so gross. He's so gross in everything.
It's so horrible. It's such a horrific being. And like I know the running gag is they treat him horribly automatically, but like I don't blame them.
No, no, he deserves it.
And I know it's really mean, and they get over it, but like it's really funny. Like, oh, dude, okay. So, what's your favorite episode? Because I'm gonna tell you what mine is, but I want to know.
That's a good question. I'd say my favorite episode. It's a tie. It's a tie between either the Basilisk storyline.
Oh yeah,
that's good. Where Luce makes friends
too.
That's fairly early on, wherein Luce finally breaks the rule of you can only study one tract of magic.
Yeah, which is fucking wild. I think that's wild, but at the same time, that's part of the whole oppressive regime thing.
Yes. And then the other one I like going to King Island, where King finds
King Island is really good.
That's really fun. Really cool.
That's a really good episode. I like the episode, and I think Owl House has a lot of really good lessons for kids. I talked about that last time. But that's the only one where the emotional conflict between King and Luce, I think, is solved a little too quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking gaslighting your entire life, and what we learned from that episode is King is a child, and they are lying to a child about this whole thing, and their excuse was it was cute.
Yep.
At least that's what I got from it, and they dug themselves too deep.
Well, sometimes you just find a cute little guy and you gotta tell him what he wants to hear.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, that also has some of the best line reads, just emotional, like, acting in that show. Alex Hirsch's reads for King during, like, him finding out about his past are A+. They're heartbreaking. They're genuinely heartbreaking.
I would say that the thing that most impresses me, specifically about Alex's reading in that scene, is he's doing a joke voice.
He is. And it makes it way more heartbreaking.
Yeah. That this goof character is like having a real existential crisis about who they are and where they came from, and then it's like, oh, okay.
You can hear it in his voice and see it in the animation. Parts of his brain are breaking, like in front of us, and it's in this really goofy voice.
Yep.
But I think that adds to it, right? Because you like this character, and two, they're not a perfect. It's not what you consider like a perfect voice or like quote unquote appealing voice to listen to.
Yeah.
Even though I love King, Um, but hearing like really like genuine human emotion like in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, it's great. That's probably why I'm like so critical of the lesson being learned in that episode
Yes.
too fast, because I'm like that
Yeah.
kind of takes away from
Yeah.
what is probably one of the best acting scenes in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that one's a great episode.
Holy shit! Can I mention one other story I just remembered?
Yeah.
They set up that they were gonna start doing episodes back in our world, with the episode wherein Fake Loose gets captured by a demon hunter that works for the parks department.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, we're not gonna get more of that. That would have been a fun dynamic.
Never again. The next time they're going to show up in the human thing is going to be the
resolution.
Yeah, it's going to be the resolution, and we're not going to have an adventure.
No.
Because that's a pretty interesting town. And two, a really interesting thing I think they do is that Luce might have been okay if she went through that horrible camp. She might have actually pulled through the other side. It would have been a horrible experience.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that they meet, like, definitely they still keep their weirdness, and they're helping each other out. Obviously, they obviously made a connection.
Yeah.
And then the conflict would have been just making sure your parents are like accept you for who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's clearly been the plot of Luce and her mother.
Yeah.
Like that's been the dynamic is can you accept who I really am?
Yeah.
But
which is a great thing for any kid to deal with. Yeah.
I was just kind of blown away by the
Sorry, not a great thing for a kid to go through. I mean, like a great topic to discuss
with your kid,
with a child. Yes.
Well,
will they accept me for who I am?
And to that idea, actually, let me say this: I don't think I'm reaching here when I say that particular episode, the when that's the last episode, isn't it? That's Luce's mom. Episode. Fuck. That's Luce's mom finds out that she's been living with a monster, with a creature in disguise. Yeah. Ostensibly, that plot line is about protecting people who are refugees.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like a reach to say like, oh, I cannot send you back where you came from. You will be hurt or imprisoned.
Yeah.
So I need to help protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's kind of like in the most positive way. Wild that got to be a plot point in a kids show to talk about like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I 100% agree. And then cut short. Oh, yep. I forgot to say my favorite episode, which should come to no surprise to anyone. It's the episode where Hootie tries to help everyone, and it's 3 different stories all coming together.
And then he does.
And he does everything immediately. But goddamn, it's so fucking funny.
It really is.
Time. Trying to teach King the birds and the peas, and him poisoning and drugging Ida.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, Hootie's so fucking good.
Digging a love pit.
Yeah,
a pit full of love.
Very good. Full of love.
Very, very good.
King it's one of those. He's up there in the Abe Simpson sense for me of just that character is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And every line is almost gold. Like,
yeah.
It's one of those. It's good. Show's good. Go watch it and get ready to be horribly disappointed with mismanagement from Disney.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get back onto. I want to talk about more stuff I watch, but I really do need to take like a 2 or 3 minute break.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody. Give me one. Hey, let me do the intermission. Give us 2 or 3 minutes. Should be on. And there we go.
All right.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. So back to kind of what I was talking about. So then the next question becomes: did you watch Amphibia?
So I have watched some Amphibia. I think I'm about 5 episodes in at this point.
Damn it. Okay.
Sorry. So what
there's a writing thing I really want to talk to you about, but yeah, that's 5 episodes ain't far enough. Like,
I was literally just talking about while we took that little break. I was talking about how, again, I totally get why people compare the two of them. There's a lot of things from the outside that make them look.
They're both portal fantasies.
They're both portal fantasies with young female protagonists that have.
Though Anna's older.
Anna's older. Yeah. They both have animals in the title, and it makes it seem like, are they both animal themed shows? Which they're not. No. They're not both. And but also just like the style of writing is very, very different on both shows.
Yeah. Very different.
I feel like Owl House, I relate to the writing style more so, whereas Amphibia feels. Amphibia, not a dig, just, Amphibia's style of writing reminds me, honestly, more so of like classic 90s animation in those 15-minute segments. It's very snappy. It's very like, let's jump into the next thing. Yeah. We're not going to stay in one room for a whole, story.
The episodes are 11 minutes and like, as compared to Owl Houses are 30.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, from what I've been able to get out of Amphibia, I'm interested. I think that they're doing really well at kind of building up the reality of that space. I think her little blonde friend's gonna have a bad time. It seems like she's having a real bad time.
Wait, which little friend?
Her blonde. She has a blonde friend who is also in Amphibia.
Oh, you don't even know her name yet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. I think they said it, but I don't remember her name.
Oh,
yet.
Okay. Then I can tell you, it's Sasha. That's her name.
Oh, Sasha. Yeah, Sasha. She's
go ahead.
in the dungeon somewhere. She's having a real bad time.
Yeah, it's one of those. That's the promise of where the story is going,
right?
Type thing. I would say keep watching.
Okay,
that's all I would argue. It's again one of the things. The less you know, I think the more you're gonna enjoy out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me if this is a comparison you guys can kind of truck with, if this makes sense to you. The writing on Anna's new best friend, the little red frog. I forget.
Is Skip? No, is it Skip? No, Sprig. Sprig. Yeah.
The dialogue for him makes me think a little bit of Big City Greens, which is also a show that I've.
I still haven't watched Big City Greens. Should I watch that one? Would I enjoy it?
You know what? I like it. It's like very casual watching. It's also 11-minute shorts. And I honestly just watched it because the guys from My Brother and Me podcast was on it, and I was like, oh, that'll be fun. And so it's got a lot of like Green Acres humor, a lot of like, I'm from the farm, and this is the big city.
It's Beverly Hillbillies, like
yes.
Okay.
Yes. But
for
it's
all
very
you children out there, there was a sitcom called Beverly Hillbillies. They discover oil, and then they move to Beverly Hills. Their grandma is strapped to the top of their car in a big chair.
Yeah. You see, kids, back in the 60s, the joke could just be, what if poor people were where rich people live?
Oh, man, city people are different from farming people. Let me tell you. That was the joke.
Why, look at this here green top dining table. I could fit 15 turkey gobblers on there.
It was one of the most popular sitcoms of its time, and it's still like one of the most influential. I'm not even joking. Y'all gotta look into Beverly Hillbillies.
They much in this. I don't know if any of this is probably also like out of the reach of some of our audience, but similarly timed sitcom called The Brady Bunch got 2 movies in the 90s where they remade it basically with RuPaul, and then Beverly Hillbillies also got a 90s movie remake as well.
I didn't know that. For Beverly
yeah,
Hills.
guys. It had like
wow.
the original cast cameo, and then they recast everybody with more age
because it would
appropriate.
be super old. Yeah.
Yeah, they were 30 years old. Yeah. But yeah, guys, if you want to get yourself ready for when they remake Golden Girls into a movie in 10 years, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Rest in peace, Betty White, one of the best to do it.
Oh my God, rip up, Betty. We loved you. Oh my
Although
gosh.
it's very funny that all those magazines came out celebrating her 100.
they couldn't go back. They had already printed the shit.
That's a pretty good joke. I would like to think Betty White purposely
told
people not to do it, not to tell people until after.
I feel like she would be yes, absolutely. Yeah. She'd be very strongly like, well, they already printed it. What do you think, mate? Wouldn't it be fun? Like, I don't even have to stick around the whole time. I get the credit without having to.
But for anyone who hasn't watched Golden Girls, it's probably one of the best sitcoms ever made.
Oh, for real, guys.
And like, not just one of the best sitcoms, it's probably one of the best TV shows like ever made. But
it's the first professional credit that Quentin Tarantino has in Hollywood.
That's true. I do know that.
Yeah. If you want to know more, kids, better go look up the Golden Girls. Better go check that one out.
Yeah. So, okay. Keep watching Amphibia. I can't wait to talk to you about that one, too.
For sure.
That one, I think I can go a little bit more in depth. I think I've stated before, well, because I don't want to do the thing where I kind of like set you up for the show.
Yeah.
And kind of raise expectations, but I really do. I'll say this, is I really do like Amphibia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I watched that. I was telling Ian this story like a week or two ago during New Year's, which, by the way, this is the first podcast for New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's super late. And I was sick on New Year's weekend. I had an ear infection in both ears. It was excruciatingly painful, that one. In fact, like, my jaw would like start swelling up too, so I couldn't even eat like properly. Or like, so I lost weight during that. That was fun. That was a good positive, I guess. But during that, I watched Craig of the Creek, just as to kind of comfort me, because cartoons are always comforting.
Sure.
So I watched Craig of the Creek, and one, it's a very good cartoon, very well made. A lot of good work put into it, and we kind of talked about it last time, where I'm like, there's some things where I'm like, that's not how that would go down, or at least my experiences have told me that's not the situation. Like, me and Nick love talking about that episode where they meet the older, like, teenagers, I guess, or they're probably young adults
who are in the band.
Sorry?
Oh, in the band. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So are in the band, who are in that band, and they're like really like just we're trying to help each other out with the music and all that, right?
Yeah.
And then me and Nick went, boy, wouldn't that have been nice to have been our experience growing up playing music and learning instead of this weird pissing contest you have to do each time you meet someone. I'm like, I've been playing for this long and I can play this shit. I learned sweep picking and I'm 15. And that's just...
Oh, you know how to do White Stripes? Go on.
Oh, you know how to play White Stripes? Yeah, with fucking one string song on bass, whatever. And just there's granted, I know we live in SoCal, so there's like a lot more competition and shit.
Yes.
But I noticed no one got nice with music until I was in like my until mid-20s and like really late on. Because all of us had experience like, wow, it's really cold out there, huh? It's really tough being a musician.
Yeah.
That's that's a nice thing to encourage kids with. I'm just warning, that's probably not gonna be the experience. It's gonna be very, very mean for a lot of things. Hopefully not.
If you're a kid who's playing music in LA, Chicago, New York, that's not probably gonna happen to you. But everywhere else, maybe.
Maybe, fucking maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's another thing I have to keep in mind. I'm like, well, I grew up in a city, and like it's different. Two, I think I talked about the parents are like really fucking nice people,
Yes,
and
they
they
are.
treat their kids well when they make
Yeah.
mistakes, and that was not my experience growing up. And I probably won't say more than that. But I talked about the idea of not only because when it's a kids cartoon, there is a responsibility to what messages you're putting out to them because
Sure.
you're essentially kids are watching you. What are you have to like they're gonna just absorb like sponges
All
whatever you do.
cues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but also having a thing for the parents to kind of take from it because parents will watch with their children.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. Having said that, did not relate to that episode. I did relate
What?
to Craig's struggle of there's a bigger problem at hand that besides just a small one, but not the response. So
Right. Okay.
having said that, it's very good. It's funny. I like all the characters are lovable. It's a big cast.
Yeah.
Well, Amphibia, out of these three cartoons that I've watched like lately, Amphibia is still my favorite.
Okay.
But Craig of the Creek, if I was a kid watching that come out, that would for sure be my favorite because I'm all about that.
Now,
I would have been all over that. The kids having adventures in backyards and like playing pretend and all that.
This is a really weird comparison, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it is, but because Craig of the Creek has a little bit of Ed, Ed, and Eddie and a little bit of Rugrats.
So do you remember the episode where they have to help? They have to help the teenagers who are obviously too old to be hanging out over there. Well, they got their own little thing, but it's just this big guy just being like, "Hey, remember this show? Wow, you guys really remember? You guys remind me of Ed and Eddie quite a lot. Oh man, Codenames Kid Next Door. That's what this feels like." And just rattling off. And I was like, I feel like I'm being attacked for what I was as growing up.
Now, see, when I watched that, I felt like, this show has had to defend itself from producers.
Oh yeah,
clearly.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Absolutely,
we're not.
100%.
We're not doing that. This is not that show. Yeah.
Yeah. But also, that was relatable, and that was. I knew people like that. I was that person for a while. Oh, and the whole thing of like the joke is, do you remember blank? And that's it. Fucking great. It's a good show. It's a really good show.
Good bit.
Craig of the Creek is really good. As for the Capture the Flag arc, which is the last, what's weird about that arc is I like the build up a lot. But then I think the resolution's really quick.
Right.
Get ready for this word for non-writers. The denouement is was very lacking. Like it kind of just ends. And I don't know, is there going to be another season? Are they going to talk about the fallout?
So yeah, check it out. Season 4 has been greenlit. It's in production, and a spin-off is in production as well.
Ooh. What's the spin-off?
For his little sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Interesting. I hope it's not a We Bare Bears situation where I'm like I get it, they're cute. And I know that's what people want for the entirety of the show. I'm glad no one's come after me yet about We Bare Bears and how I think it's okay. I think the problem was everyone was telling me it's amazing. I'm like, yeah, it's got its moments.
I'd say the best thing about We Bare, like, I agree. I think it's good. It's good. I think my favorite part of the show is just how it has a very chill vibe. Like,
I think that's what people resonate with, especially like older crowds that watch cartoons.
Yeah. Like, I get it. Like, I know a lot of children's shows are like Invader Zim, where it's screaming, constant screaming.
Yeah.
And I like that sometimes, but
Yeah.
I like that We Bare Bears can just be a show where like three brothers make tacos together or something, and that's it. That's the show.
Yeah.
You know?
Having said that, I don't like the small bear things, I think, as much people do. I enjoyed it the one time, maybe the second
And that
time.
was enough.
And I was like, oh, besides the joke that they're cute, not a lot going on, huh?
Nope.
There's some
Not really.
some sadness. That scene where he's stuck in the really tall tree is pretty cool. I like that scene a lot. Not much like that though. The rest of that show. Oh, I love the Sasquatch, man.
Patton Oswalt.
No, it's not Patton Oswalt. It's the guy from My Name Is Earl.
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee. It's Jason Lee.
Professional skateboarder Jason Lee.
Not only professional like one of the best skateboarders, Jason Lee.
Yeah.
He's also in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So remember, he's the comic book owner. And he's a recurring character in the Kevin Smith verse. I love the Sasquatch because because at his heart he's a good person, but he's also the fucking worst. Like, and those episodes are just how much can they put up with? How fucking. Also, I know Panda's like the most popular. Panda's the worst one, I think. Like the worst human being. Yes. I think out of all of them. Although, like, luckily you learned some pretty good lessons, but by far. Although, Ice Bear is probably murdered, so
definitely has murdered. Definitely
so maybe
will.
I should hold my tongue on that.
Also, like,
oh, go ahead.
I'm just speaking outside the universe now as like an audience member. Really interesting choice. Like, we want Dimitri Martin on our children's show.
Yeah, that was very...
he's really got the vibe the kids are down with.
The chill vibe. It was so weird hearing him and then going, man, I really loved Dimitri Martin when I was growing up. Like, hearing his stand up. And I know he's kind of doing his own thing now, but like, I think he's just doing like mostly voice work, right?
Largely, to what I'm aware of,
Anyone, if anyone wants to go check out Dimitri Martin's stand up, it's like really unique too.
It's a lot of, it's got music and prop comedy, and it's I describe his stand up as like the the storytellers that would read to kids at the library?
Yeah.
Like a deranged storyteller at children's library.
One of those, like, we have to get rid of them, but we have no one else to replace them.
Nobody else is volunteering, and the kids seem to like it. I
people
guess.
Are laughing, but this ain't right? Like, we I have one of his books signed by him.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really? That's cool, man.
So, got to meet him at like a book festival in high school.
Nice.
Yeah. So Dimitri Martin's cool. Anyway, other shows. I know Nick watched Southside, and I watched, and I like got him into that show. Speaking of comedies, Nick kind of dropped there. Oh, there he is. Nick, you want to talk about Southside or?
I mean, go ahead. I mean,
okay. So, Ian, have you watched Outside on HBO?
I have only seen the first 2 episodes, but I really enjoyed it. Very much
great.
So. Yeah.
So I think it's a fantastic comedy. Like, I
agree.
And I remember telling Nick about it, going, "Hey, I think this show's really funny. Just a heads up, this is totally humor I would write." And that's probably why I like it so much. And then Nick was like, "Man, you would totally write this shit. You fucking..." It's so good. Just some like straight deliveries and just people.
Yeah.
Just a level of stupidity and absurdity, like, in everything.
Yeah.
And just situations going in weird directions and for a little bit too long.
I do appreciate that style of humor. Yes.
Yeah. So you haven't seen the clown episode, right?
No, I've not seen the clown episode.
That's my favorite episode, and I was so excited when Nick got to it.
Okay.
That episode's wild.
It's fantastic. I
It's
love
so fucking funny. Like several times Nick was watching it just going, "What is this episode? What's the what? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to like go for."
Oh, that's fantastic.
All I'm saying, Ian, you know how I've been saying for years, slapstick's coming back?
Yes.
We better get fucking on it because like
Oh shit.
something I really do believe the slapstick's coming back. Like
Okay.
because I think we've hit that level of absurdist comedy being really liked, and slapstick's really the most like is the beginning of that.
True.
So we're gonna get some new takes on it. It's
All
great.
right, I'm ready for that. I'm
It's
ready
great.
for that.
Southside's great. I think it's one of the funniest shows currently airing.
Okay.
It's
Right.
fantastic. Yeah, and it's just a straight comedy, really. Like, it really is just straight comedy.
Okay.
So that one's good. Watch Book of Boba Fett. I did not watch the last episode. I know they're hinting to the Mandalorian being in there. I did see Thundercat.
Yeah.
That blew me away. Yeah, that show has a slow start, but I'm so used to Star Wars having that. I didn't really mind it. I'm enjoying the ride so far. I will say this, and it's the part I can't keep out of my mind. Those teenagers, or well, they're not. They're probably young adult. Like they're probably.
I was gonna ask you about that. Okay.
It is like the least Star Wars thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's wild. Every time I see them on screen, I'm kind of taken out of it, going like, "Who are these people? Like they look like." They do not look like anyone else in this universe. Like,
is it because of the bright colors? Is it because they're like
it's their
clothes?
Their clothes are angsty, but they don't look like they would fit on a desert planet.
No,
that's like going through this. Also, their bikes are wild because they're all these cherry coated, not like they look like the most expensive things compared to everyone else.
Yes.
And they're like I like the idea of the cyborg enhancements. I think I've said it before. KOTOR is like I think the best story, like Star Wars story I've experienced. So I like the augmentations things, but they look kind of like stapled on, and they don't use them too much.
Yeah.
And there's always been hints about in Star Wars, but to make it a prime focus on like this thing.
But
it adds this weird, edgy angstiness that I know, and Robert Rodriguez is the director for most of these episodes, is like all about.
Yes.
Man, you could, as someone who grew up seeing Robert Rodriguez and now like he's directing Star Wars shit, you can see some of his stuff like from a mile away.
What if I got some sassy teenagers? Could I put some sassy
angsty teenagers? They're so weird. They're so weird to see on screen. I don't know if I like them or not, but like I haven't stopped watching. So
I would say that like I absolutely know what you're talking. So like I was sat down. I was watching it with somebody else. We were watching the Star Wars together. And he immediately says, "Well, that doesn't fit." I was like,
"It's really jarring."
Yeah, it is. It is.
So it's a point where like, where are you going with this? Like,
here's what my immediate thought was.
Okay.
Oh, well, Marvel just threw in a bunch of teenagers because they're going to do a teenage thing. Star Wars probably got a note from on high, like, get some kids in there.
God, that's
too many old men. Put some teenagers in it.
That sounds really true.
But I mean, here's the thing.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm not looking forward to them being torn apart by a Rancor, which might happen. That could also happen.
I don't think they will.
I
don't think so. They're too pretty. That's another problem I have. They're too pretty and like for people trying to be angsty, there's way too much. But maybe that's the sign of true angst because we knew people who put a lot of work into their looks for the angst. It's one of the great hypocrisies of trying to be like rebellious.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm coming after metalheads too because I knew a lot of people like growing up.
I
Or
mean,
our whole
that
stick
game.
is we don't care, but obviously they cared about their looks.
You're
I
trying real
think
hard.
I'd probably be more forgiving of that group if
Oh.
they were an alien race
Yeah.
that resides on Tatooine
Yeah.
that's being rebellious. But the fact that it's good-looking people with with metal slapped on their faces.
You know what? I absolutely agree. I like. So here's the thing I was excited about in Book of Boba Fett, and we can get more into it as we go.
Yeah.
But just these are off the top thoughts.
Yeah.
I liked that they had these hogmen as a big part of the show.
Oh yeah.
Just
Dude,
because.
someone's so into them
Really?
on that set design. No, you can tell looking at them. Someone's really kind of like, ooh, I'm kind of into these pigmen.
Really?
The way they
Okay.
look, because the way they're designed and like the shots you get of their torsos and all that.
Oh. Okay.
Watch. You're gonna notice, Ian. You're gonna notice a lot.
This is a.
Now
This
that
is
I
a
pointed
brown.
it out.
This is a brown M&M situation. This is somebody.
It's gonna be noticeable now. Yeah, I like that they kept those. I like that they're keeping some weirdos. They're weirdos in there, like.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the weird alien stuff. There's obviously a lot more practical effects going on.
Yes.
With
Yes.
things that really do look like puppets. That the black-haired Chewbacca the Elder.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, he looks cool.
So cool. His dreadlocks, fucking tight as hell.
Isn't he? But so Nick and I were like asking, isn't he in like part 3 of Star Wars though? Isn't he fighting on Kashyyyk with fucking Chewie?
Wookiees. Yeah.
Now that could be, but don't forget that. I mean, maybe that's the case. I would have to go back and look.
I have no idea what the age of a Wookiee is. Like what the age.
Wookiees live to be about like 150, I think.
Yeah, something wild, right? Because he's still like pretty spry, pretty spry in the new movies.
Because our Chewie, Chewie is, I think, about the same age as Solo.
Yeah,
they're about the same age as each other.
But that's like middle age for a Wookiee,
right? Yeah, he's like he's like only a third through his life.
Oh, that's
he's
true.
like, he's only like 50 years old or so.
Yeah, it's like a teenager. Like he's like a young adult.
Yeah,
it's wild. So it could be the same one. I'm curious. He's rad. I'm conflicted about the whole Tusken Raiders thing, because on the one hand, I like that that's the topic for this series, is essentially giving the land back.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yes.
Having said that, we're falling pretty close, if not already in the whole Dances with Wolves, and the whole white savior thing.
Well, defo. I mean, it's the I've learned the way of the natives.
I've learned the way. Now, I've gone native. I want to.
And now I will save their land. And then but there's also like, I don't remember this in Dances with Wolves, but like the revenge plot of like, and then they killed my brothers, and now I must avenge them.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, I dig. I mean, when I was watching that whole episode, I think episode 2 is the one with like a gunfight on the train.
It's like, really, that sequence is awesome.
That sequence is fucking tight.
Yeah, it's fucking rad.
But you watch it and it's like, oh yeah, Western. This is a Western.
It's a Western train heist, and it's good. It's good.
Yes.
And Mando's a Western / like Wolf and Cub. So, and Robert Rodriguez loves Westerns. Like
he sure does.
He grew up he very obviously grew up on that shit, and everyone should go watch Once Upon a Time in Mexico, because I feel like that's the most Robert Rodriguez movie. Like,
it's really fun as well, because I remember watching that movie, and Robert Rodriguez did commentary on it.
Yeah.
And most of his commentary is like largely like practical stuff. Like he always likes to frame it in the form of, hey, I was an art student, so I'm going to teach you all the little tricks I did to,
that's cool.
To get this to happen. But like the other half of his commentary is, here's another continuity error. I didn't notice it till we were editing. This shit's wrong.
That sounds so fucking real. Like that sounds so relatable. No, and I don't want to get it twisted. I actually really like Robert Rodriguez.
No, same.
I think he has a really just fucking fun, like, it's a movie. We're watching a movie, goddammit, and that's we're gonna be like, fucking entertained, and there's gonna be some good action, and you're gonna like these people. Like,
I think Robert Rodriguez takes all the things that work really good in. Here's a weird fucking comparison.
Yeah.
But all the stuff that really works in a Spielberg movie. Like when I watch Indiana Jones, it's like, this is the most movie I've ever watched.
Fucking movie, man. You're gonna watch.
It's all make pretend. There's a secret door that gets the good guy out of the burning building because of course there fucking is. Indiana Jones does not die.
He's not gonna die.
Yeah, obviously.
He's still alive.
Like, so he takes the stuff from stuff like that and Flash Gordon and all this pop stuff. And really brings that in.
Yeah. No, I actually like Robert Rodriguez a lot. I think a lot of the times, and for younger viewers, he made Spy Kids, so you can. That's but I know I'm gonna have fun, like to some degree. Like,
yes,
I'm gonna enjoy this amount, and he's good at directing action. He is that train, dude. That train heist is fucking sweet.
Let me ask you both if you relate to this, because they will point out I'm the oldest, but we're not terribly far. We're not that far.
You'll always be.
I was a little bit old for Spy Kids 3 when Spy Kids 3 happened.
Yeah, I would argue. I was already getting up there.
But I watched it. I went to go see it because I had liked the first two so much. So I went to go see it. Spy Kids, I mean, I guess this is the case for all the Spy Kids, if I'm being honest. But it's not a great movie.
No.
But I never stopped looking at what was happening.
There's going to be something. It's a spectacle. You're watching, you really are. Like, it's the same thing a lot of people get out of, like, Godzilla or, like, Gamera movies.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I want to see Elisha Wood cry and then blow up. Of course I want to see that. That sounds rad.
Yeah. I think that scene is actually genuinely great.
Yeah, it's good. It is really fun. I love watching that scene.
Yeah. We should all watch Spy Kids, especially Spy Kids 2. Spy Kids 2 is the best one.
Like, I mean, that's the weird thing is, okay, one last Robert Rodriguez thought I have is, when you have The Island of Dreams, Spy Kids 2, you get these weird, like, little moments, because he's casting great like Antonio Banderas and all these amazing actors to do these silly bits, basically. And then there's, I don't think we've talked about, like,
Cheech Moran is in, is the uncle.
James, fucking Machete, where I guess that's like an official canon spin-off is the Grindhouse movie is a spin-off of Spy Kids.
Yeah.
He's playing, in quotes, the same character who has sex with and then murders Lady Gaga. What a time.
Yeah.
But there's like a scene where what's his face? Steve Buscemi is playing like a tortured mad scientist.
Yeah.
And he has that dramatic 2-camera. Do you ever think that God has receded from Earth because he too fears his creations?
Yeah.
Why is this in this movie? What?
That was in Spy Kids 2.
No, Spy Kids 2.
One of the rawest lines.
Yeah. Some good shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a long way of saying I'm enjoying Book of Boba.
Nick, do you have any thoughts about the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah. I mean, besides everything you guys covered, it's my only experience coming up to this was the comic books that were coming out back in the day.
Yeah.
So like the inclusion of that Wookiee isn't too surprising because I don't know if it is the same Wookiee, but it is the one that was that kind of went rogue. That was its side plot was that it was within the Clone Wars, but it was raised on Kashyyyk. So it was inevitably raised to be a bounty hunter.
Okay.
And then like its whole side story was like trying to find its heritage and like its own identity.
Yeah.
Which was cool at the time. So they probably won't do that with him, but yeah. I will probably have to see the next episode to see where it goes, but I mean, so far it's cool. I don't know if it's what I wanted Boba Fett to be, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask is the last question. Were you also taken out of it when you saw Thundercat?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then I found out he did the music too in that all that crazy bass stuff.
Yeah.
In the shop,
So, I will say this is a non-spoiler teaser for the episode next for you.
Yeah.
There are like a fuck ton of episode 1 references in the very next episode.
Okay.
That are so subtle that I like scrunched up my face and I turned to the person sitting next to my roommate and I was like, "Is that like a reference to da da da?" And they were like, "Yeah, that's a reference to that scene." Yes.
You just turn to them. Hey, you like bad movies? Is that like the?
You like Thing? Is this Thing like Thing you like?
Yeah, excited to keep watching. That is not to say I think Thundercat did a bad job. I actually think you filled that role pretty well.
Yeah.
He said his lines, yeah.
It's good. All right. What else? Caught up on Last OG. Watched the season 4.
Oh shit! I didn't even know. I gotta catch up.
So you ready for this? Season 1 and 2 are genuinely great and funny. They're hilarious.
I've seen those 2. I've seen season 1 and 2.
Season 3 is weird.
How so?
Things happen and then they're resolved pretty quickly.
Okay.
And there's a lot of weird choices to the point where I'm just I guess it's a slight spoiler, like 99% of the cast is replaced.
What?
Yeah.
Like, is Tiffany Haddish still on it?
She is.
Okay.
And then we get to season 4, and I think season 4 I enjoyed more than 3.
Okay.
But we do have more of the cast back in return, which is weird. Because then the new cast is just fucking gone and not talked about.
Okay.
And I enjoy, and that was cool. But again, a lot of them are gone.
The kids? Are the kids still there?
The kids are there in 4.
Okay.
They are there in 4. To the point where, and 4, you start seeing it in 3. 3, it feels like that show's having an identity crisis.
Okay.
Because 3 felt like they wanted to do more drama stuff with the comedy, and 4 is like, no, we're going to like almost sitcom format. If not, some episodes are sitcoms. Like, just in terms of A plot, B plot, resolution, and hopefully there's some jokes that make you laugh along the way. And I don't think any of them are as funny as the first 2 seasons are.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah.
And it's a real shame, because I really like those first 2 seasons. I think they're fantastic. I think it's some of the best acting, if not the best acting I've ever seen Tracy Morgan do.
Okay.
I'm gonna see where they're gonna go with this, but I'm really worried, man.
Well,
so heads up.
I mean, the show is still ostensibly about a man who went away, was put away for years, and is still trying to get back in the swing of things.
Yeah, and 4, they get back to that where he's trying to what is he gonna do? What's his actual goal?
Yeah.
With the rest of his life and playing along with that.
Okay.
Yeah. It sucks. Those first 2 seasons are really fucking good.
Really, like out loud belly.
Oh yeah,
laughs.
belly laughs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoying having a fucking good time.
Yeah.
Me and Nick still quote some of those
Mm-hmm.
scenes. We like screaming unlike this fiend at each other. And one of the funniest jokes in like a really serious scene. Yeah, man, just heads up.
Okay.
It sucks because that means half the show is not as good.
Man, I had to fucking live that way with Arrested Development. That now 2/5 of it is not even. I don't even call it bad, but it is clearly not as good as the first 3. You know. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's solely because it's too long.
Yeah.
That show, it's like it's way too long, and we've talked about. We've gone into it.
We've done. Hey guys, if you want to hear more about that, dig through our episodes. It's back there.
It's back there. What else did I watch? I'm gonna try and make it real quick so we can finish off the podcast with Eternals and Ian stuff.
Oh, for sure.
The only last thing of note that I watched, excuse me, is Noroi, the horror movie.
Oh, okay.
I won't go too much in depth because I haven't gotten to think about it quite a bit, but really enjoyed it. I think I like Occult more just because that one was really fucking close to home. Mm-hmm. As someone who grew up in an era where home brewed terrorist attacks were happening and are still happening.
Okay.
Whereas Noroi, I think Noroi overall is a better, more well put together horror movie.
Okay.
And that last scene is amazing. It's genuinely great.
Could you give us the general plot? Like, what's the general pitch for the movie?
Noroi is about a curse that has. Mm-hmm. It's also a possession movie that's manifested in a character. But it's told like a cult in the found footage documentary style.
Mm-hmm.
And as like they're doing an investigation that keeps escalating, and the reveals are pretty fucking grim.
Okay.
That's as much as I want to give.
Okay.
But it's about people being haunted by this curse and like why that's happening.
Okay.
Because the reveals are great. I think they're genuinely great. And there's some great like just fucking what am I watching type scenes. See a dude grab a pigeon. You see, there's a lot of grabbing pigeons in this movie. It's great. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic horror movie. Again, I think it's more. It's quality wise, and just as a movie, it's better than a cult. A cult really hit home for me.
Okay.
And gave me just this sinking feeling for like 30 minutes. Right. That I had to keep just. Again, I think when I first described the movie, I said this, but it's that feeling of, oh, this is what I'm watching.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to watch this for the rest of the runtime. And cool. And I do love that feeling, but it's a tough, like, it's hard to replicate. It's great. It's same director. Fantastic movie.
Yeah, Curse is really good. I would say if you liked Occult more and that's kind of style, have you seen the movie Happiness?
No, that's on the list.
Yeah, so Ian, you know what I'm talking about, like that gradual moment of, oh, this is the story.
Yes, where you suddenly are like, oh shit, okay, I guess this is what's happening to me.
This is
right
the ride.
Now. Okay.
Yeah.
Legit a great film. Like both are like great films.
Beautifully done. Yes.
Still love Happiness. Absolutely. I still think about some of those scenes. But yeah, same with The Curse. Like there's a lot of imagery I did like more than Occult. I'm sorry, yeah, more than Occult. But yeah, I do agree. I think the impact and like in its message. Yeah, personally, it's more an Occult than Noroi. Maybe because I don't have like an Occult.
Yeah.
Like history. Maybe that's why.
But again, having said that, that last scene in Noroi is better than anything in both of those movies. It's so good.
Absolutely.
100%. That's a good fucking ending, like, to a horror
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's all I have to say. Ian, you wanna? Yeah, what did you watch?
Sure, I'll jump in. So
Before
we
we get
already
to Eternals.
talked about Boba Fett and the Mandalorian. I'll talk a little bit. I've been reading quite a bit. I actually just I don't have too much to say about it other than I've restarted Wind Up Bird Chronicle just because
Oh wow, big book,
a big boy.
big
But
boy.
How do you
I
feel
was
about Wells?
man.
What's the
kind of
black ooze? As
and
someone
it's like
who read that for a senior thesis class, you
mhm.
wanted that there's some discussion to be had.
What is the ooze? What
What
does
is
it
the
mean?
ooze?
Like
Why the
the
ooze?
the are they gonna make me ooze? I think the thing that just keeps coming to my mind for Murakami for that is he honestly is a great exemplar of the writing advice you get when you're really young, which is just write about stuff you know.
Yeah,
Just write about stuff you care about. And he
100%.
kind of so doggedly just writes about the shit that he cares about that it's almost impossible not to be. I find it so charming. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
That
Like,
Suda 51 level.
yeah. So I don't really have anything too deep to say about it other than I'm starting it again and I fucking love it, man.
Right on.
But
Righteous.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about a memoir that I was actually recommended by a colleague at work.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Running with Scissors by Augustine Burroughs.
Okay.
Has anybody heard about this one?
I want to say it's ringing a bell, but I know nothing about it, so assume no.
Okay. So the guy had written some novels that were pretty well received. And then he ended up writing a memoir. This is actually the first in a trilogy of memoirs, apparently.
Yeah.
So this book kind of covers his childhood up until his late teen years.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the really impressive things that kind of the book goes through is how your childhood normalizes a lot of things. So essentially, the book is about his father picked up drinking in response to his mother's late onset kind of mania. She had like some sort of personality quirks that got weirder and weirder and weirder. And then she picks up a therapist who believes in like blending Freudian theory with like new age religious practices.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go great for her treatment necessarily. And it's also really because so his childhood is in ostensibly mostly the early 1970s.
Yeah.
Where medical, like especially I think a lot of these treatments were still in a kind of early proto stage. Like we had just gotten out of giving people LSD to see if that made them feel better.
Okay.
And it's a really fascinating novel wherein his mother, who is a published poet, ostensibly gives him away to her therapist so that she can focus in on writing more. And so he starts to live in a house not only with the therapist's 6 biological children, but two other adopted children and 4 psychiatric patients that he keeps in his house at all times. And so it's just this kind of strange story wherein things just keep getting kind of more and more odd. And because he is such a young person, it takes him until essentially he's 16 or 17 to start to gauge how unusual the behavior has really been. So I mean, it's a really fascinating book. It's really well written. And it's so I'll kind of spoil one plot thread because I think it's both interesting. It's a good kind of representation of what goes on in the book.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you are not comfortable reading this material, I'll give you a content warning now. It's pretty seedy, some of the stuff that happens.
Okay.
So Anthony comes out to his family when he's about 12 or so.
Okay.
And he's very relieved to find that his family is actually fine with it.
Gotcha.
It's at a time where that's not necessarily the norm.
Yeah.
And so they tell him, hey, one of our adopted brothers is also gay. You should talk to him about that. And so he starts to talk to this other adopted brother who's 30-something.
Yeah.
And then they start to figure out what being gay is like together with this 30-year-old.
Yeah.
And that is, unfortunately, one of the least abusive stories in his life, in his childhood. So, yeah, I say that as, when compared to, essentially, as you watch the story unfold, you get the sense that, like, the Doctor himself may not be a stable person.
Yeah, don't sound like it.
Because at some point, like, I think
a lot
about
of
halfway
malpractice going on, but that was around the time where you could get away with a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's like literally a segment where Anthony says, "I don't want to go to school anymore. I don't feel like I fit in."
Yeah.
And so the Doctor's solution is, "I've bought you a bottle of Quaaludes and Jack Daniels. I need to find you overdosing because you can't take going to school, but only take 3. It'll knock you out, but you'll be fine." And
Okay.
yeah, it's yeah. The Doctor also, like, one last thing. The Doctor sorry, that, and then there's also like a long segment wherein the Doctor makes all the children go to the bathroom before he flushes because he's convinced that God is using his bowels to communicate life-changing, like, decisions that they should be making financially.
Write this down, Chris. Write this down.
No, I don't think I'll forget that one.
And it's really,
shit.
It's really fascinating because, like, some of the children are aware enough to know some of the things that are going on are, like, unacceptable and bananas, but some of the things that are still really unacceptable and like a 13-year-old boy being sexually abused by a 30-year-old man, they're like, he's 13, he can figure it out. They seem happy. That's whatever. So, yeah, it's a very strange novel. It's a very memoir, rather.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real. All this stuff happened.
Yeah.
It's really well written.
And that's our segment for this podcast of don't fucking tell me it's unrealistic to put that in my writing. Fuck you.
If you tell me his name is Madoff and he got away with it, no one's gonna read this book.
Believe this shit.
Yeah. So anyway, Running with Scissors is a really riveting read. It's a really fascinating read if you want to get to know, like, the origins of a very talented writer who wrote other books not about this kind of thing, but really, really interesting kind of glimpse at kind of the things that happen to us in childhood and kind of inform a lot of things in our future. Really interesting. Really interesting writing. Yeah. So, Running Scissors. Then, oh gosh, what else have I been watching? I've been really caught up on this other podcast that I guess that'll be one other thing I can talk about. About 2 years ago, there was a podcast called the RFK tapes that came out, and it was.
Why does that sound familiar? Yeah.
It was a pretty popular podcast about basically drawing into question the degree of guilt that Sirhan Sirhan had in the assassination of Robert Kennedy.
That's okay.
And they basically like kind of go through all the conspiracies around it, all the myth making and stories, and they interview a bunch of people. And I thought it was a pretty interesting show. They don't necessarily settle on anything definitive at the end of it. They don't say, we've proven a conspiracy, so on. But it was interesting. So this new podcast is called the MLK tapes, wherein they interview not only members of Dr. King's family, but also the lawyer who represented the assassin, who they continue to, and they essentially they're making the argument that they do believe that there was collusion in some degree to make sure that something bad happened to Dr. King in that situation.
Well, so this is where I go, didn't the FBI release those documents, and isn't it, they say they did that?
So, yes, the FBI has officially admitted that they were
I want to make sure I'm not making up that memory.
Yeah. They were monitoring, they were, and in 1995...
They wrote that letter, too. The letter was the first part, but I mean, like, didn't they say they did it? What?
Well, they don't necessarily admit to killing him.
Yeah.
But they admit to being involved in a plot against him, whatever that means. But in 1995, the King family actually filed civil suit against the U.S. government, the CIA, and the FBI, and the local police, and they won for a wrongful death, essentially saying that the government was involved in the murder of Dr. King.
Yeah.
So the podcast kind of takes that and runs with it.
Okay.
And goes on with, okay, so if that is if we are going from starting from the conclusion that at least members of the government were involved in assassinating King, primarily after the point he was, one, advocating for the withdrawal from Vietnam, and two, advocating for what even today would probably be called socialist programs, housing as a right, food as a right, clothing as a right, that kind of stuff. That lefty pinko commie was, So, I think that it's a very interesting show. They're going to be going on for 11 weeks. Right now, we're at week 4.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I'm very interested in the kind of information they've got, just based on the grounds of, I don't know. Like, conspiracy theories can be fun, and
and you have talked about this problem.
Or now you have to be like on your guard.
Yeah.
Because okay, you know what? Give me a minute and I'll kind of touch base on that. But so it's like that we briefly touched on the Eminem thing. Like, that's like some crazy foolishness that is really just a screen to make you forget about child slavery.
Yeah, the lawsuit going on with their child slavery. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is still happening, by the way. So, like,
exactly. And then there's a bigger conspiracy that I don't have to say the name of, we all are aware of, that touches on a real problem with human trafficking and child, abuse. That's real. That does happen. But then it's got all kinds of fucking fruity little additions that get weirder and weirder.
Yeah, Jon Stewart did an interview with a reporter, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's on YouTube now, because that's where I'm pretty sure I watched it. Talking about, like, child trafficking being, well, they touch upon it. It's not the main topic, but they do touch upon it. In that the child trafficking is a real goddamn fucking problem.
Yeah.
But with the way conspiracy theories have plotted, it's become incredibly difficult to actually work
Talk
on
about
it.
Yeah.
Because the public always wants this sort of thing, and they're following smoke and mirrors, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if I can put on my most conspiratorial hat, I think that there are certainly some people who probably don't want us to have meaningful conversations about these real problems.
Yeah,
you know, like
misdirection is like the most classic grift in the book. Like,
absolutely, because it's not like, as you said, John, and all of us know that slavery is wrong, and we know that there are. Oh, actually, I didn't know this. I was told this the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they told me that we're actually entering into one of the worst ages of slavery that has ever happened.
Yeah,
ever.
yeah. Are they specifically referring to the prison systems, or?
They are including the prison systems, but they're also including there's large swaths of Asia and Africa wherein people are abducted, essentially, of children, and taken to, as Eminem profited off of, children being held at gunpoint and told, you're going to collect the cacao now.
Yeah. Yeah, the chocolate thing was always known. Like
yes.
has been a thing for a while.
Yes.
So.
And I mean, coffee, water, lots of other industries are doing. You could even argue, I mean, to a certain degree, lots of businesses that develop technology, such as the thing I'm talking to you on.
Yeah, how much you enjoy your phone?
Right
there, everyone.
But
let me said a lot, but no ethical consumption.
Let me say this definitively. Actually, there was a really good video I watched about this the other night, but I think that we need to, you know, be clear when we do say there's no ethical consumption. That doesn't mean do whatever the fuck you want, I guess.
We're not going for the nihilistic, like, we're animals, we might as well fucking do it then.
Right.
Like,
it is to say, I acknowledge that my shirt is probably made by slavery.
Yeah.
Realistically, I know that.
Chances are, statistically, like, yeah.
So, but that does not mean that I now don't give a shit. Like, that means that, okay, I need to keep trying to do what I can do.
We do what we can and keep moving forward, yeah.
And if you meet people, you know, who, you know, say some shit like, well, they're gonna starve anyway, so this is really, I know it's exploitative, but at least it's work for them. Like, fuck you. Like, what's wrong with, anyway, that's the end. That's part 2 of my political position.
That's already my, like, that's my worker right brain going, and then that's the idea that work is the highest thing you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
In society, like, that's the tip. That's the goal for a lot. For supposedly, it's what I'm not going to get into. It's a whole thing.
You
I'm just saying most people who say that shit are like the most biggest fucking hypocrites in the world. But
yeah, I know. Like, listen, we have, as Chris said, the prison system is essentially backdoor slavery. Also a great video, but but that doesn't mean that, like, oh well, you're part of a country where that happens, so you don't get to have a like, no, man, that's not how this works.
What's that? Yeah, it's that meme of you participate.
In society. Oh yeah,
I'm so smart.
The guy who comes out of the well. Oh, but you still are a part of it.
Curious. I am very intelligent.
Yeah,
man.
Anyway,
shit's fun.
Yeah, and the podcast is really cool, guys. It's really neat, and I heard a bunch of really cool stuff, including, like, in the last one, they specifically cited that there were 3 black firemen that worked in the town that King was killed in.
Okay.
And they were all sent to headquarters that day. Ooh. So they would not be in the firehouse. There were 5 black officers who usually protected King when he was in the area.
Yeah.
And they were all sent on specific assignments out in the boonies.
Yeah.
Far, far away.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a cool show, worth looking into. Yeah. Let's see. Gosh. Wow, that was almost no time at all. Like I said, I've been mostly watching like Owl House.
Yeah,
I love that
a
show. It's
fun
very,
thing that
very
also
good.
has a depressing caveat to it.
Go ahead.
No, that the depressing caveat is that it's a fucking
Oh,
stop. They have to stop it.
it's also a cool thing that's dead now, so that's
Yeah.
fun. Cool.
Well, again, whatever those 3 movies are, however they do it. Oh, quick question about Owl House. Did you watch the shorts and/or the thing they did for the first season where they had Alex Hirsch voiced, and like it was a real owl? They animated the mouths too, and talked
I
about each
think
episode.
I think you had sent me some of that, so I have
Okay,
seen a little bit. Yeah, that was fun. That
it's
was
fun.
really.
As a kid, I would have loved that shit. Would have been all over it.
I also here's something frivolous I watched. It was like they do like 2 3 minute long shorts called I think it's called like Random Calls, and it's basically crank yankers for kids.
Yeah,
Like if you remember, like for those who don't remember, there used to be a show that Jon
they
Stewart
came
was
back.
followed by. Oh, did it come back?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't know if it's still going, but they know they brought it back for at least a season.
It was crank phone calls with puppets.
Yeah. Well, they would record the phone calls and then
Right.
playing a character, and
Yeah.
then they would animate it with, or they would replay it out with puppets.
Yes. Disney is now doing something like that called, I think, Random Call or something like that,
Really?
wherein they get voice actors to call real businesses as a character and basically do a bit.
That's so
And
dangerous. That's
the one I would recommend
we're
most.
obviously whatever you're watching is a highly filtered.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
definitely. They ended up getting the creator of Phineas and Ferb to call Miticelli's in California. Like it's a very nice restaurant.
Yeah. Okay.
And try and make an appointment as Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
That's fine.
And explain, I'm a very important man. It's very funny. It's very cute.
I would have been all over that as a kid.
Yeah.
I told you one of my favorite shows once we got cable was like House of Mouse.
Oh yeah.
And that show was fucking awesome. It's never gonna happen again.
No. Never will.
100%. Not gonna. Can never happen again. And House of Mouse fucking is awesome. Like
House of Mouse also, guys, this is a thing that matters to me, a 90s kid. Last time you saw Roxanne, how dare they?
Yeah.
Why? Give us more Roxanne, Disney. You know what we all want.
Yeah, man.
Last thing she does is kiss Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are basic though. It's all about Beret Girl. She doesn't even have a name, but in college.
The one that Pauly Shore was hitting on. That's how I remember it.
Oh no, it's I think Pete's son. What's his name? Isn't it Petey? It's just Petey. Yeah.
No, it's oh my god, I'm forgetting. Hang on.
Yeah. But they're together. They get together. She has like 3 scenes. I rewatched that movie with my sister. PJ. I rewatched it with my sister. I was like, yeah, Beret Girl. I was all into that as when that movie came out. I was like, oh, she only has 3 scenes?
That movie is like the most 90s or late aughts movie ever. Like the conclusion is branded X Games.
College X Games, yeah.
College X Games.
It's
yes.
obtainable.
Thank you. And like it's super weird. It's super weird because also parts of the plot feel like an 80s comedy. Like
yeah, because Pauly Shore is in it.
Yeah.
Therefore 80s.
I mean, the mean jock guy who's like, I'm better at the board game than you are better at the board game.
It really is like an 80s like college well, that's what it's supposed to be modeled after.
Yeah.
It's also the movie where you're like, what the fuck, Max? Why can't you just... Your dad's trying to get an education, is finding love as a single parent while also trying to better his life.
After he was taking care of your selfish ass for 18 years, you piece of shit. Fuck you, Max.
But it's so embarrassing.
Also,
it's so embarrassing.
Okay. Runner-up to Beret Girl, Librarian, especially with the
Librarian's one.
Sure.
Librarian one with the Afro Chris.
Oh, yeah. when she breaks it down, when she gets the groove going,
Hey,
it's like,
yeah.
oof.
Can you blame Goofy? Jeez.
Oh,
All
man.
right. So should we talk about Eternals and close out?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I'm gonna put a spoiler tag real quick.
All right.
Give me 1 second.
All right. This
I'll
gonna be
just
real.
ask
This gonna be real
this.
fast.
Yeah, I'll just ask this. Ian, when did you watch Eternals last?
Like maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Okay, so not quite fresh, but like it's still, you can still talk about it.
I can remember the general structure and big ideas. Yeah.
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 Okay, let's transition to that, and then let me see if I can edit stream info. Probably not. Oh, yes, I can. I'm just putting up spoiler things in case anyone. Okay. So for podcast list for MP3 listeners, we're now going to spoil Marvel's The Eternals. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I don't recommend it, but you can. But you know, oh shit, did that not save? What the fuck? Damn. But you know, it's spoiler cast. What are you gonna do? Matters to people, even though I would argue it's a Marvel movie, and there's. But gonna spoil that shit for pretty much the rest of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So there you are. Timestamp it. And we are going to spoil the Eternals in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I didn't like it.
Fuck Celestials.
Celestials suck, dude. Okay. This, so straight off, I'm gonna paint white swaths first before I get into nitty picky. And granted, I realize it's actually not that important of complaints. It's a lot, right? And that may be a thing, but white swath, the movie's boring.
Yeah.
It's the long. I think isn't it the longest Marvel movie? Is Endgame actually 3 hours or is it less?
Endgame is longer, but
okay.
Yeah.
But this is almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is set up because you have to do the Avengers thing of getting to know all, but like without all the movies, so you have to get to know all the characters, hopefully like them, see what their journey was, and like, so they give you 2 action sequences that are not that good at the beginning of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're it's like, well, there you are until the rest of it, right?
Right.
So that's the biggest problem, is this movie's fucking boring. Like no one's has like charisma. There's no one I want to watch at all, like in this. And I try, even Paperboy probably had some more human things. Although me and Nick agree it has one of the worst transitions in the entire movie. And this is a movie filled with bad editing and bad transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Or just maybe bad editing is the wrong word, but it feels like the studio came in and did the editing rather than a director.
Right.
It's like it's suffering a Suicide Squad problem.
Okay.
It's kind of how I see it.
There's a lot of unnecessary shots. Probably all of them are unnecessary, but I mean,
yeah, a lot of things were straight up. I'm like asking why do that shot? I feel like it would have been, you could have conveyed an even better thing. But that's the wide swath. Is at its core, I think this movie's boring.
Mm-hmm.
And things that I thought that should have been really cool to me, like a lot of the big shots of the Eternals, of the Celestials, and kind of the scale shots, which I'm always a fan of, just didn't hit home. That's the real quick wide swath before we get into details, but I want to hear y'all's opinions on that, like just wide canvas thing.
Go for it, Nick.
No, you go, Ian. I waited. a whole day.
Nick's mad at you.
Ian,
Yeah.
Ian,
Yeah.
did you have to watch this so I watch it? I never liked Celestials, not even like
Yeah.
Kirby. You know what sucks? Like they're amazing pieces of art, but oh my god, they're fucking nothing.
Yeah. So I would agree. I feel like my biggest complaint with the movie is that it felt like the characters have to be flatter so that we can get to know them.
Yeah.
Because you're basically introducing you're trying to introduce 10 protagonists ostensibly, even though it's really more like 4. And then the other ones, but and then it felt like so many of these plot points had been done better in other Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And it felt a lot of the stuff did feel retready. So, for example, Thena, her plot point feels very much like early Hulk. Like,
yeah,
okay, we've got a ticking time bomb. She's going to help us unless she loses it. But then that ends up just being kind of it's not narratively satisfying. It's just something that's like, okay, let's add a dash more tension to this last fight.
Yeah,
and then resolve it, and then that's over. It's done.
It's early in act, and when it comes up for the first time, it's an action sequence, and this is going to be a recurring problem that I have with the movie, where we're touching upon an actual like big philosophical question here, that there's no good answer to because people are still fucking debating it. But it's got to be interrupted by some either punched up. There's a lot of punch up writing in this, and you can see it like as soon as it happens. Where the script was just too like they had nothing, and someone came in and like punched it up. Two, it interrupts those questions with like that or like an action sequence. That's again, a lot of them are not good or fun to watch. Like
the fights in this made me kind of think of the fights in DC movies that were like, this is a lot. This is going on for a while, and I don't. The other thing. So another example of it that I would really want to hit as a complaint, as far as like, I've seen this done better before several times. Is I think his name was it Ares, the blonde dude who's really into our main female Eternal.
Wait, the dude who shoots lasers?
Yeah, out of his
Icarus.
eyes. Superman. Icarus. Superman. He's Superman.
Yeah, he is, but it really does look like the only powers he has is eye lasers and flight.
Yeah, that's true.
And he has some level of strength, but it's obviously not on the level of a lot of other team members.
Yes. I feel, though, that like his plot felt so much like and you know, let me say this, guys. This is a complaint that comes with a grain of salt. But my main complaint with him as a character was not even in Marvel, but in the last 2 years, I have seen so many stories of guy who flies with eye lasers who's ostensibly painted as a hero is an asshole. Fucking, what was it? The Boys? That's the main plot line, essentially, of The Boys. And then there's another... There's another series. What's that?
Invincible,
yeah.
Which is great. It's an amazing... It's actually really well fucking done.
Yeah. And I just felt like we've kind of seen this, guys. Like, I don't know. And that's
the evil Superman,
yeah. And that's not.
And we've seen it done really well at this point.
Like, exactly. It's not wholly on the movie, but like, goddamn, you got to read the room where we are, and if you have like that many versions that I can pull off the top of my head that were just released, you might need to rethink some stuff. And I know, and okay, I'm now going to self-rebut slightly with, I know that these movies are not speedboats. You cannot shift shit fast, but still, it was for me as an audience member a bummer. and
Yeah.
like repetitive feeling.
It also really doesn't help that he's like one of the, if not the least charismatic
Yeah.
performance in that. Like like it's that every scene he's in, it just sucks up the charisma in the room, and I don't even think that's him. I think that's the writing and the direction.
Yeah.
Because it really feels like that, where it's just he's given fucking nothing until they go back on that one time they had sex like so often.
Yeah.
And that's his touching point for emotions.
Yeah.
Yo.
That I didn't understand people until I got my dick wet. And that is what he's so it's such a boring fucking character.
When I did a cum, I suddenly saw that there might be point in life.
I'm not gonna kill you because I remember, and will you touch it now? And fucking oh my god, dude. By the way, there are like a couple things I like, lines I like and they're both from, God, I forget who he's playing, but I always call him Paperboy because of Atlanta.
Oh yes. He's Hephaestus, or
Hephaestus,
some version of Hephaestus. Yeah.
There's two lines. One is we're farmers, because I actually would call that like, why aren't you all mad? Or you guys are farmers, like for this thing. You aren't even cattle. Like you're just growing crops. Well, okay, I say that, but like farming is like one of the hardest jobs ever. So please don't underestimate that. But I mean, like in the sense of these high beings that are thinking a lot of themselves.
Yeah.
Two, when he calls him pathetic, he is 100% right. Like Icarus is one of the most pathetic beings I think I've seen in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
He doesn't do much. He's still following orders to a T.
Big bootlicker,
Big bootlicker, willing to kill all his friends. And when he doesn't, it's because he had sex with one of them. Yep. And that's supposed. I keep saying that, but that's like what their touchstone is for they love each other.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of touchstone,
then they make bread, but like,
yes.
And then instead of trying to make amends and help the team and solve the problem, flies into the sun.
Yep.
Because one, it's like poetry. It's like the story of Icarus, because his name's Icarus. But two, it comes off as, oh, now you're just avoiding the fucking problem altogether. Like any sense of self-improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like getting caught by the cops and jumping out a window.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, hey, maybe that's commentary on dudes who are, but I doubt it. It's like one of those things where I don't think they thought about it that much.
That hard, yeah.
Yeah.
What
it actually means. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll say, yeah, you're right. It's because the real life equivalent of that is the whole man gets accused of assault or any acts like that, and then a week later, before the trial, he kills himself.
Yeah.
Not that would ever happen. Come on, guys. Who would do that in real life?
Yeah.
It's so. Dude, okay. So, and then we get into a much like more story structure thing I got going on here. And it's a problem not just with this movie but it happens anytime you do something like this, which is you introduce a system to an established universe in a story where these are the top. These are the beings. They're the biggest and strongest, and they were always there, and they're moving the clockwork that's supposed to be churning this universe, and there's never a mention before they're introduced at that moment.
Yes.
And then the problem is not even that reveal, because that almost feels like a cop out, because you can just say, oh, they were always there and they were always there. But two, what that does is, but wait, what about all this? Yeah. Multiverses exist. How the fuck does that factor in if you're considered with this universe? Are there other Celestials? And if so, that means there's going to be slight differences. Who is actually the strongest? Two, aren't fucking timekeepers like the most powerful thing?
Right.
Because time, and they can just like fucking fuck with that. No, these are the strongest.
Where the
And then
fuck
you
is
find
Galactus?
out. Oh, good.
Where the fuck is Galactus?
Yeah, well, uh in IP hell with with Sony is the answer. But yeah, to also Nick's point. And then all this just other stuff while at the same time showing, oh, they're not actually all that powerful after all, even the Celestials, right? So I
Yeah.
guess you get that, but boy, I will say this one of my favorite scenes, and this is just because it reminded me, is when Icarus is getting his ass fucking handed to him. I love that scene. One because it's actually kind of brutal, see, like, and just the paw like on the head, like crushing. Just holy shit, that's pretty cool actually. But then he's the villain, and then all of a sudden he's the strongest out of all of them until like again Paperboy shows up and does the technology thing.
Yes.
But even though the last time he fought he got fucking wrecked, and they handled that creature. Fuck. Yeah, going back to that, a lot of the things revolve around this character that doesn't even talk that much.
I kind of want to.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say Sprite. Or yeah, no, right? It's Sprite.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that love thing really comes out of nowhere, huh?
Yeah, it sure does.
I was like,
real
when they said, "Oh, you're into him," I was like, "You are?" That's I didn't get what vibes were y'all picking up from. I didn't get any. It comes out of nowhere to the point it comes so out of nowhere that she joins him that I went, oh well, we're gonna get the thing where she is doing this to kind of save
betray him or
yeah. And no, she is actually into him and stabs her best friend.
Yep.
For it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking what? Like
it's
so out of nowhere. It's so he has one person, right? And to create more conflict it really that felt like padding for keeping Cersei from doing what she was gonna do.
Yeah.
Like it's and the biggest example I would give is when Icarus actually breaks out of the bondage. Out of nowhere, even though we just saw his powers are like nearly gone because of it. But he yelled really hard and shot his eye lasers into the sky.
Yep.
And that's just to have one last conflict with Cersei's.
Yeah.
There's a lot more, but I'm going to let you guys talk. I feel like I'm going on.
I want to ask you guys about... one thing I wanted to ask you guys about was the tone of the film.
Yeah.
Just because... I don't know. I don't want to... I'll hold some of my thoughts, but what did you guys think as far as, like, tonally about the movie? Like, they're clearly trying something different, but
yeah.
Go for it, guys.
They're trying to do a more serious tone, but nothing feels that serious because they're, like, all-powerful beings.
Yeah.
That can do all this shit.
And
then they will try to line the move with punch-up writing, but it feels... Because of the tone, the punch-up stands out way fucking more. Because it wasn't integrated, like, naturally. And on a more technical level, Nick and I kept noticing the aspect ratio changes. Because they happen, like, almost every, 5 minutes in this 3-hour-long movie. And and you can tell, and Nick pointed out, you can tell when they're on a sound stage and when they're on a set.
Like, it's very noticeable.
The lighting even changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just, there must have been a bunch of reshoots or editing and all that. It's so fucking jarring, it takes you out of it.
Yeah, that's why I took my class, so I can hate this movie more.
Oy. But yeah, you go ahead, Ian.
I was going to say, just because, like, there's a degree to which clearly the material kind of is asking you to look at it as an epic. Like, we're watching, like, a Gilgameshian epic of prehistoric proportion. And then the director's tone kind of, I kept getting the vibe like, oh, you just want to make Tree of Life. I think you'd be more interested in doing something like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're trying to combine that essentially with the most crowd-pleasing, most wide-reaching of material.
Without
And
actually
so
trying to say anything. Yeah.
yeah. So it always feels it feels funky in that way, you know?
Yeah. And that goes the whole try not to say anything. That goes to all the scenes I'm talking about where you're going to touch upon something deep and philosophical. Like, for instance, one of the most important scenes in the movie is the conquistadors coming in and genociding
Yeah.
Tenochtitlan.
Yeah.
And I'm watching. I'm like, holy fuck, they're going to touch upon this shit. Like, and one, it looks like a really cool shot because there's an actual like that's a lot of people. It reminds me of like old movies where they would get a lot of people on set for war scenes and all that.
Yeah.
And they bring up the really good Druid brings up the really fantastic point, especially for them at their power, of when is it war and when is it genocide.
Yeah.
And do we interfere on genocide, or is like, and then what I'm about to say next they don't even bring up, but it would be continuous extension. They don't even reach this level of, is genocide a natural part of war? Because one could argue losing is that.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference because we're coming up with these terms, and genocide is definitely different than that.
Yeah,
none of that shit's touched upon because Angelina Jolie has to Hulk out.
Exactly. But actually, can I touch on that topic? Because I think that's a great idea. I think you make a great point. So then his name was Druid?
Druid.
Druid, whose power is mind control. And
mind control!
He has no limits, I don't think. Like, they don't expressly say...
he stops the genocide of Tenochtitlan.
Yes. So what we gotta touch on is, so listen, guys, these are fun punch 'em up movies, and that's one thing, and sci-fi is one thing.
We're not gonna talk about things. What?
Yeah, but the thing is, even if you do shit as window dressing, there are things I now have to talk about because you put them in the movie.
Yeah,
and I think another great question that comes up aside from interfering in war and genocide and at least calling what happened to the Mexica and Aztec as a genocide.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
100%.
But then you also have to then grapple, I think, a little bit with Druid's solution is, I will take away their ability to make choices so they only make good ones.
So I was just about to go into that, man, because it's another weird jump in that line of logic and character.
Yeah,
it screams, I wanted to make this point, y'all just got boosted. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Naval Mayo. I like, oh, you just got boosted. Yo, congrats. That arm is gonna be
so or.
Yeah, get ready for that. But yeah. So he does the thing of stopping, and if he just kept it there and did the thing like he did in Mesopotamia, which just stopped the fight and have him make up for it, then he's like 100% right. But he's got to shoot that baby, so he immediately takes him and go, oh well, now he's a villain, and now he's wrong, because that's what the line of. And I can see the thinking. They want to be the thing of that level of interference is wrong. But they're jumping it so they're making such a big leap that it seems like he just snapped and like into some different villain, like out of nowhere.
Well, because there's a difference. I agree. I'd put it this way. There is a difference in the text and metatext and subtext of the movie. God, I sound like an asshole.
Yeah,
there's a difference between, okay, you know what, this is morally wrong. I don't believe that we should stop a genocide from happening. So stopping a genocide is one thought, and that's one thing. I need now to actually control them all so that they never make this mistake again.
Just these people
also,
too, not even moving on from that, which makes it seem really petty. like it changes them to someone that's just really fucking petty.
Is a whole other thought. And then a third thing that I think bears mentioning is you're a different white dude telling everybody how they ought to be living their life better.
Yeah.
You're not what
well, it's okay. He's a robot, so like, you know,
he's a robot. Yeah. But yeah.
That whole scene is fucking crazy, just how it plays out for everything. And at the same time, they're trying to do this whole thing of like moving the plot forward until come to the conflict.
Yeah.
It comes up as just so messy and like just like they're stumbling through this story. It feels like if they're stumbling through this movie.
Yeah.
Just getting the story out.
And I think it's really interesting. One other thing to bring up. So I always feel like when the movie actually bumps up against real history, it always feels like weird.
Yeah.
And I feel like they don't really know tonally what to hit. I think the closest they came to something that was like, okay, I get where you're coming from, and I don't mind this, was Paperboy responding to the atomic bomb of Hiroshima.
Okay. So we were gonna, Nick, that scene really bugged me and Nick like a lot.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna let you go off before I like really, but So one, that's a fucking thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Two, why is he there? Why is he standing there? He can't fly. He can't. He had to have like actually taken a plane or a boat. Yeah. And how do you explain that to people after that's been there? Also, why is Selma Hayek there? She also can't fly or teleport. And she's in her North Dakota outfit. But two, I've like interfered and caused this. That's a big fucking topic to address and not say anything about. Other than I've lost my thing. The cloud is still fucking there when when they arrive at the island.
Yeah. The thing I would add
it almost comes up as insensitive. Like
no. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that like when you look at it from also the perspective of, okay, so really it's not our fault we bombed the Japanese. It's their fault. The Japanese.
Yeah. It goes back into my whole thing of Marvel movies are have this weird military propaganda going on.
Oh, they definitely do.
And they definitely do. But like, yeah, and it's fucking it's some shit. Yeah, now that we're putting it that way, that scene is fully awful.
Yeah, it actually is.
It's 100% awful. Two, and then it's followed up by him having a good time in Chicago. You know, his family. And boy, is that a fucking tone change in editing. That scene, it's one of those scenes I'm like, you don't even need that. In fact, the movie would be better if you, and I know this is the height of ego, that movie would be better without that scene. And you just said, I've helped invent some horrible things.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just said that in, like, the scene where they're sitting down at the table. He could have, in retrospect, that would have been his argument. Like, you know what, I've done some stuff, I've tried to help them, and it always ended up bad.
Here's an example. Because they were telling us shit anyway. Why even like?
Yeah.
Why change it up? Speaking of Paperboy, that scene where he's building a steam engine, and Selma Hayek is like, "What is that?" is hilarious.
Yes,
because they're on a fucking spaceship.
What's a steam engine?
What's a steam engine? What is that?
Is that like a processor that works with a boiling pot?
And then this, we're not even touching upon the big hypocritical thing. And this isn't just Eternals. This is any story where you're like, we can't interfere. Yeah. And then you show them interfering all the time and having conversations and trading and but it's all the fun things are interfering. Making bread is is fun. That's not interfering because we're enjoying the good parts, not the genocide or war. That would be interfering. And oh fuck them, dude. They become so hateable like that.
Well, yeah, I mean it's the same thing I felt like, and I like Kumail Nanjiani. I like
do. I actually like his stand up. I think he's really funny. Like I think he's a good
very
writer.
funny guy.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, it was so frustrating. His character was a very frustrating character to watch.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think I'm reaching. He comes off kind of like a glory whore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really, you know.
I think that's actually the joke. Like, is that? Yeah, I would argue.
But like it. You then have to go back and look at all the things they've done. And it's like, I don't know if I'd be bragging about that guy.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I'd be bragging about that.
Fucking patient zero.
Yeah.
Dude, he's deformed. Like, it's not an insult. Okay. He's legit deformed.
Wait, who? Nick was telling me about that. He took he had to take hormones for.
He took HGH.
HGH.
Oh my god, really?
For this movie, yeah, the whole Marvel Get Fit thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Hormone growth pills for people.
It actually fucked up his jawline, and you can see it in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope he's okay. Oh no,
I really do too. I liked him as a writer a lot.
Yeah.
Like I really do hope he's okay.
He's a really sharp guy, and I don't want anybody to think that my feeling about. I'll say this for all the actors. I don't want anybody to think that our feeling about this reflects on them as performers.
No, I actually think it's like 99% the studio.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Like the writing feels like it came after the fact a lot of the times, and I think that was because this is again theory, but I feel like I've watched enough scenarios that I can kind of sense where like, oh, the studio came in and told them to change that or make that scene like that. Again, could 100% be wrong. Straight up. Like that. I'm no expert on anything.
Well, the only thing I really know about the kind of producing, the making of the movie was that, shit, forgive me, if anybody knows the director's name, throw it out.
I don't know. The writer was Chloe Zhao. I don't know if she's the...
Oh, I think she was the writer and director, both.
Writer and director.
Chloe Zhao, like, has made really good movies.
What has she made?
Fuck, let me look.
Here, I'll look it up. You keep going.
But I think that, like, one of the things I had heard was that she came into Marvel with a pitch that was very specific and had, like I had said, elements from these more less linear, more symbolic movies that are, like, tonally nothing like what Marvel is doing.
Yeah.
So I think what the big clash is that you have a director in the chair who's going for this, and a studio who maybe, my assumption is, okay, we want another Oscar movie. She's an Oscar, like, she's been beloved as a director, as an artsy director. Let's just say yes, and then we'll get what we want in the edit. You know?
Yeah, no,
that's my suspicion.
She didn't know.
That feels true, but again, I wouldn't know.
What were you saying?
Yeah, Nick?
She did Nomadland?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oscar-nominated Best Picture. Yeah.
And Daughters? Wow. What a follow.
Oh.
It's
okay.
Right after Nomadland is
it's weird.
Eternals.
So it makes me even more believe this is a studio-made movie, not even like a I feel like you're even more right in the sense that we just need a name.
Yeah, it's we want a big name so that we can have this attached. We're not I do believe that Marvel is hungry for another nomination. I think that there's the prestige of they got so goddamn close with fucking Black Panther that they were like, we've got to do another one that's big, sweeping, dramatic, epic cast, very diverse, and this big name director, and the Academy's gonna love it. And but then they afterward were like, well, fuck, this is not what our audience wants. Like, this is impenetrable to the fucking toothless meatheads that live and breed comic books. Yeah.
It's and Wingo points out like the sequel Star Wars, at least Episode 7, and Episode 7 feels like, I think we've talked about it before, the way I put it, it's an argument between Rian Johnson and Disney.
I agree.
It feels like that. It feels like these are two people trying to. One's a director who's made really good fucking movies.
Yes.
And one's a studio trying to like keep it safe and like not. we don't want him to go away and like have to experience new things. No.
Right.
Like that type deal.
To the listeners, like for Episode 7, I do feel like there are islands of things that are like, that's a fucking cool idea. Yeah. Oh my god, why have we not done that?
That would be an incredibly interesting thing to do in Star Wars. But no.
Yeah.
No.
No,
you're not gonna get that. No. Back to the Eternals. Just these, it feels like a studio made movie, and like, what was that? I was just about to fucking make another, because I feel like the Druid thing is so like, fucking prime example of that, of the whole like, maybe we're gonna talk about something, but not really. No, we're not gonna make you think here. They're interfering all the time, which is again any problem with it being that at that stage. Oh, okay, to time, because I mentioned timekeepers earlier, and why I know they're more powerful. There's that whole thing of and these people are really just following orders of not interfering.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all they give is the reason of not interfering, and the idea of that kind of thing always stems from, well, we know how shit's gonna play out. They give no indication that they know how shit's gonna play out in this thing. They so to my whole thing, it makes them even more like assholes, because they're living in a present moment rather than seeing things for what's gonna happen, like seeing the future and all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they really are just letting a genocide happen.
Yeah.
They really, really are. Mm-hmm. And it's not because we know what's going to happen after. It's because someone told them to. And we find out the whole thing of like war driving evolution, right, and all that. But again, that's not a concept they're familiar with at that time.
Right. Yeah.
They are making these choices. And it's the worst. It's the fucking worst. And I don't think anything has come to redeem that at that point.
And
two,
go ahead.
Okay.
I'll say at the point you see Paperboy in 1944, by the time you get to 1996, so the Eternals have basically said, genocide, we're not stepping in, because there's been at least like 9 at that point in recent history. Like, no, hands are washed.
Yeah, where were you when Thanos snapped? Where were you when blah blah
Cambodia?
Blah? Anything, fucking anything. Like, where you just out of like living your life and all that.
When the Twin Towers 9/11, when
bringing it back to the beginning.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, man, that's always the problem. Whenever you introduce a character like this, that's why most of the time they suck, and you don't have a good answer. Because like we're always trying to. Are you ready for this? This is the it's the thing of you're trying to write a higher being and you're human, and you're painfully human, and you can't actually think about what it means on all that. And that's a big problem that people like struggle with all the time. So I'm not gonna even like route that. Like, I'm not gonna even dig too much into that because I don't have a fucking answer to how you go about that. But it's one of those things of I think you should just avoid it. I don't think you should do all that. This movie sucks, man.
Well, we're all in agreement on this one,
Oh,
guys.
also Sprite having the problem with I'm a child. She's not. She's as old as all them. She had no concept of a child until probably later on into working with humans.
Humanity, yeah.
Mm.
I like. Oi, oi! This
Yeah.
movie. Oi, this movie.
This movie. Boy, this one though.
It's such a drop in quality from everything else.
It really, really stands out, and
Yeah.
I'd say that the biggest kind of bummer is knowing that it's connected to something that I'm going to be interested in watching later.
Yeah, I can't wait for Blade.
Fucking both Blade and what is it, Black Knight? I think Kit Harington is going to be Black Knight, like the Excalibur.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
Because they're all going to be on a team with Moon Knight. They're all going to be a London-based superhero team.
And then, and then of course Guardians 2, which is that first one with Patton Oswalt as the drunken dwarf.
Who's gonna let Harry Styles love his way into your life.
Fucking
that's strong.
Oh, also, like, I did not know, because I guess I'm a fake fan. I don't know much about lore and stuff. Harry Styles is Thanos' brother?
Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess I am a fake comic fan too.
Yeah, because Thanos is also an Eternal in canon.
Yes.
And his brother...
Which is another fucking problem that you gotta, like, address. Did they not recognize kin?
Right? So, also, hey, actually, fucking good point. Okay, if you're not allowed to interfere in human affairs, then why is it when an Eternal fucks up, you don't get in here and do something?
Eternal goddamn shows up. What about fucking Dormammu? What, like, isn't he on par with Celestials? Am I crazy? Am I misremembering that?
No, because he owns a whole dimension. He is a dimension.
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
And again, that goes back to the whole problem of where do they fit in with multiple dimensions? Where do they go with time? And I know that's not just a movie problem. That's been a comic book problem for a long ass time. But like but once you bring it in, you're bringing it in. So you better be ready.
Well, so here's a question that I think we're going to get answered soon that I've been asking. If you fans of the show will know. I've been asking for a while is I think they're probably going to introduce the X-Men 2 years from now. Is what it seems like is going to happen. I've been looking into it, reading on the forums.
And my uncle, who works at Disney, told me.
So, Universal has settled a contract for a solo Hulk movie.
Counters hammering away the contracts. Yeah, they sure are. You can almost hear them.
Yep. So they're going to do another Hulk solo. That contract has been ironed out.
That's going to be tough.
And they're going to be doing it as a follow-up to the She-Hulk show this year.
God, I hope the She-Hulk show's good.
Fucking fingers crossed.
I fucking love She-Hulk, and I know they're going off my favorite. Are they? Hang on, I want to confirm. I don't know if you know this. Are they going off the run where she's actually being a lawyer?
I believe so. Yeah.
To superheroes. Good. It's like the best line of She-Hulk comics.
They're introducing her as a lawyer, and Matt Murdock is in the first 3 episodes.
Great.
Yeah. So
I hope he's found guilty. Because I think it would be really funny.
Here's a thing that
speaking of Daredevil, I didn't talk about that. I watched Hawkeye, but we'll be good.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I'm very excited to hear. Apparently they're gonna now that they're bringing back Daredevil into the fold as a character. I found out that they're going to use the Frank Miller run of Daredevil Yellow, so he's going to be in a bright yellow ass suit, and I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun. Very cool.
That's a pick.
That's a
move.
Be
as rough as a Frank Miller, Probably not, right? But whatever.
God, I hope not. But
Anyway,
the general thought. This is, guys. This is not fact. This is merely my speculation.
Yeah.
But
way to cover.
2024 is going to be the 50th anniversary of Wolverine as a character, and 2024 will be when the Hulk gets his next solo movie, and the Hulk is where Wolverine first shows up in the book.
That's true.
So,
all right, so Ian's aiming for the stands. Everyone, make sure to clip this and
make fun of me when it doesn't happen.
Get ready, 2 years from now.
Yep.
He'll still be doing this podcast. Yeah. Trying to end on a good note, but like the summary is Eternals was bad.
Yeah, guys, maybe skip it. And
it's really bad. The problem is those they make it so that the ending credit scenes are really important.
Yes.
And that sucks.
So my recommendation: just fast forward and then watch all the scenes with Kit Harington.
Yeah, if you listen to the spoilers and you haven't watched Eternals.
Yeah, just zip ahead. If Kit Harington is on the screen, watch that. Then skip ahead until he comes back, and that's basically all you have to watch.
This is probably the worst Marvel movie in this run, at least Well, I'm gonna start things off at like Iron Man 1 and beyond, right? Even though the Incredible Hulk is technically part of the universe as well.
Yes.
And I really don't like the second Avengers movie, the Age of Ultron. I really don't like that movie. This is probably worse than that. Because this is frustrating. This is a frustrating movie to watch.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you compare it to, this is my worst Marvel project that I fucking disdain.
I actually agree. Like, I'm thinking more and more. The more I think about just the Hiroshima scene.
Yeah.
It's coming off as just more and more like offensive. Like.
Yeah. Is this movie worse than seasons 1 and 2 of Iron Fist?
Ooh, that's the question.
Yeah.
That's the real shit.
Yeah, I thought you boys like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck! What a tough fucking debate. Hang on, Nick. What do you think? You have any thoughts?
Yeah,
I'm actually. This got me. Hang on, let me let me think. Nick, you have anything?
I'd argue yes.
Yeah,
it's worse than Iron Fist. Okay, because for me, they're definitely fighting for the bottom. Definitely, they're both.
I agree on that.
Race to the ground. Yeah.
I agree on that. Iron Fist is so fucking boring, though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like an awful depiction of mental health as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But genocide in Hiroshima.
Genocide. You can't see because it's an audio medium, but I'm lifting my hands like a scale.
This is ooh, man. Hang on.
Yeah.
Part of me wants
I'm gonna go watch it real quick.
Part of me wants to say Iron Fist just because the first 2 seasons are longer than the Eternals.
That's true.
And at least I get to hate on the Celestials a lot. Yes. Eternals, rather than just watching a train of boring disappointment.
Yeah.
And just bad depiction of mental health. Of mental issues.
I'm happy to say that Iron Fist retains its stinky bottom poo-poo ranking.
I think this answer might change. Like,
okay.
What a good one. That's good. Because Iron Fist is the worst. Like,
oh yeah.
What a wasted potential. Like, and it's wasted potential.
Mm-hmm.
at least Eternals is like, we already don't like the Eternals in comics
Right.
because of everything they represent.
Yes.
And any discussion about them is the fucking worst. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Iron Fist right now.
Nice.
It's worse.
Okay. Okay.
Eternals is the worst movie.
Yes. Yes. We all agree on that.
Yeah. Eternals is the worst movie. Sure. Wow. And the actor who plays Paperboy is getting shafted in some of these movies, dude.
Oh yeah.
He's
yeah,
a
man.
fantastic fucking actor.
He really is.
He's so good. Atlanta is like
A perfect
incredible.
show. Almost.
He plays that so well.
Hey guys, I hate to leave everybody feeling like a bummed out at the end. So look at it this way. They very well may end up throwing him into the Nova or Guardians movie.
God, I hope so. I hope he's put up with a team with charisma and someone work off of.
I don't know if you had heard this. I don't, and I may need to check my sources. So source citation needed. But I think I had heard that James Gunn is running a subset of the studio now, wherein
that's true.
He's kind of in charge of the celestial, cosmic outer space.
If there's anyone that can do it, he's proven he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. All right. Anything else to say on Eternals?
Well,
the end of the podcast.
It was ass dog.
Am I glad we watched it? Well, that gave us an hour of content, didn't it? So it's fucking.
Please clap.
I stood up and clapped, boy. I did. Man. Imagine watching this in a fucking movie theater.
Oh my god.
I would have.
Would have walked out.
Yeah, I think I would have. Risking COVID for this shit. Fucking A.
This is
man. Just real quick, one last knock against the Eternals.
Yeah.
Why you guys got to be so negative? Fuck you. I'm having fun doing this. It's complaining's cool, man. Anyway,
as a writer.
No, but when you're about to press play on that movie on Disney Plus, it says now streaming with the IMAX experience. And I did the thing where I read that out loud, and then I was fake looking around and going, "Who's that for? Who owns who? I can have an IMAX at home? Me? What? How?"
Well, wait, this makes me think of one thing in particular, briefly, that I want to mention. I saw on Twitter.
Yeah.
Very short, but I was watching. God, I wish I remembered what it was. It was someone posted a Twitter clip of sitting in a movie theater during the present times.
Yeah.
And they started playing the wrong Warner Brothers movie. It was it was Despicable Me or something.
Okay.
And it turns out the movie theater does not have a projection of the movie. This movie theater just has an HBO Max account that they watched someone click backward through to go to the right movie.
Oh, that's
dude,
funny.
that's walk out of the theater, give me my money back.
Absolutely.
It's so funny.
It is very funny.
That's walk out of the theater, give me my money back. Fuck you. Fuck you, dude. Oh my. Holy shit.
So,
that should be fucking illegal.
This has put a little seed of evil in me, and I'm now thinking out loud. Is Warner Brothers, or what studios are just not paying for distribution rights anymore?
Not putting out reels.
They're literally just oh yeah, you get an HBO Max account and you play the fucking movie. People watch at home, you assholes!
What a fucking racket.
Yeah.
That's my god. What a fucking racket.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So listen, guys, we
I'm
covered
gonna
some
ask
heavy
around and
topics.
see like, where's the who's doing it? Who's doing it?
Yeah.
Who's doing it?
Yeah.
That's a great hustle.
That's fuck. Yeah. Yeah, guys.
Okay. Well, so anything else before we wrap it up?
On that note.
On that note.
On that note, on just more evil in the world, really. It's been a real uplifting podcast today.
Hey guys, why don't you go out and give someone a compliment today? That'll make you feel a little better.
Statistically proven that helping others actually makes you happier.
Yeah, that's true.
Psychologically
Why don't you go out? Hey, everybody listening, call your grandma. I bet she's sad. Call her.
She's like one of those racist grandmas.
Yeah. Don't call your racist grandma. Call your nice grandma.
Call the nice grandma.
Yeah.
One who sends you $5 checks, but you appreciate it.
Call the one who keeps sending you 3 checks a year because she doesn't remember your birthday. She just is guessing.
Dude, that's always like, oh man, that hurts. That's actually painful. Suppress your racist grandma's forte. Yeah, there you go. That's
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Well, on that note.
On that note, I guess I'll end like we do every stream. Be excellent to each other and be excellent to yourselves. See
Agreed.
you all later. Enjoy the outro. Oh man. Oh dude, Eternals suck.
That was a rough one.
Huh? I think you're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah, your first plan should be getting by us.
Though you call yourselves bladers, you don't know the real truth about bay blading. There is a tremendous power hidden within bays. Since ancient times, the existence of bays can be found in moments throughout history. The power of Beyblades have been used to change the course of rivers and oceans. They have been used to defeat many armies and create huge empires.
You wouldn't be so tough without that helmet, little brother.
You're on, Proto-Man.
Plasma power!
Missed me again, number one, son.
But I won't miss this time.
Oh no! He's gonna blast President Lincoln!
Ha! I knew you'd risk yourself for Mr. Lincoln.
Simpson scandal update. Homer sleeps nude in an oxygen tent, which he believes gives him sexual powers.
Hey, that's a half-truth.
Shara, will you grant me one more wish? I wish for a mountain of handkerchiefs. Now, Just let yourself cry, as much as you need to. You'll have plenty of handkerchiefs to help you through it.
Well, sir, treason season started early this year as a nuclear sub was hijacked by local man Homer Simpson.
Oh my God! I told him that photo would come back to haunt him.
Could Homer Simpson be a communist? His father spoke out on his behalf.
My Homer is not a communist. He may be a liar, a pig, an idiot, a communist, but he is not a porn star.
Hero call! This trap card lets me pick a monster and put him on the top of my deck. And I choose this. Elemental hero, Neos. Not so fast. Thanks to my state select spell, he won't be there for long. Because now I get to shuffle your deck. So how do you like this? Bada bing! I'll shuffle these boys real good.
でも先輩結構みんなに優しいじゃん。なんか声かけてくれたりとか。でも香水もらったらなんかこんなんくれるって。嘘好きすぎ合うのすっごい恥ずかしい。うわ明日バイトなんだけど。いつでもそこに。マジで
Iris!
Sarah.
Hang in there, Iris.
Please, stay away from Replophos. Let's live together. In a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist with you.
Iris! 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 Ah! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting
for? Now it's time for the Pizza Head Show.
Hey everybody, I'm done trick-or-treating and now I'm gonna go for a stuffed crust pizza at Pizza Hut. Yay!
Not yet, Pizza Head. There's one more place to go.
I don't think anyone's home.
Sure there is.
Hello, trick-or-treat! Interesting hieroglyphics on this pizza. Ah!
Quick, Pizza Head, let's go upstairs.
Hey, who is here anyway?
It's your host, Count Steve.
Oh, nice place. You got it. Ah! I want to go to Pizza Hut now!
The Count will be happy to give you a lift.
Oh, hey, put me down! Put me down!
See you next time.
Boo!
I know a place that's peaceful and quiet. A place where animals play. It's called the forest, but every year we start forest fires. A careless match or cigarette and poof, fire. So the next time you're in the forest, be extra careful, okay?
If you knew it was me, would you have listened?
Will you hold it down out there? You guys are always fighting!
Enid Clinton, we've got business with your husband. What? John? Hal Jordan, another time shift. I'm up to speed. Carry on. booby traps. At least none that my ring can detect.
Make up your mind, would you?
뭐야?
Have you noticed any change in Bart?
New glasses?
No, he looks like something might be disturbing him.
Probably misses his old glasses.
I guess we could get more involved in Bart's activities, but then I'd be afraid of smothering him.
Yeah, and then we'd get the chair.
That's not what I meant.
It was, Marge, admit it.
What's so special about Splinter?
Yo, dude, it's so. Like Splinter's our dad, you know? I mean, what's so special about your dad?
Pepsi for TV game.
Mmm, 64 slices of American cheese. 64. 63. 2. 1.
Have you been up all night eating cheese?
I think I'm blind.
What? Good day to you.
My mother risked her life for me, and now you, too. I should have saved you. I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
Escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
I defeated you once, and I shall do it again!
No, Magneto. I let you win before, in order to learn your plan, to trap you. But now the victory belongs to the Fantastic Four.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power? No mere weapon can stop me. With but a gesture, I can destroy it, or turn it against you. Behold, I'll make it leap from your hand, and make you its target. Now!
Not this time, Magneto. This time I'm fighting for real.
It's impossible. It cannot be. Nothing can defy my magnetic power.
The Fantastic Four can. You're finished, Magneto. Surrender. You have no other choice.
Why? Why will the gun not obey me? My power is gone. I'm helpless. Magnetism. It was my greatest weapon.
Okay, Richards. We'll take care of him now.
First, tell me, how did you do it? How did you take away my power?
I didn't, Magneto. I merely tricked you.
You lie. I couldn't control your gun. You made me lose my magnetism.
You're wrong. I just guessed that you'd overlook one simple thing. Your magnetic power only works on metal, like all magnets. But my gun isn't real. I made it out of wood, specially to fool you.
Wood? A wooden gun?
That's why your power didn't work. And it's why you're a prisoner of the police now. Take him away, men.
A wooden gun. He tricked me with a wooden gun.
We can't bust heads like we used to, but we have our ways.
Oh, you got it.
One trick is to tell them stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville, I needed a new heel for my shoe. So I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they call Shelbyville in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 B's for a quarter, you'd say. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. The important thing was that I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. They didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get was those big yellow ones.